Yeah.
Well, you just have to repeat it because the audience doesn't know you've wasted all your good material.
Right.
The non-existent audience.
Make that one make her a diddly episode.
Alrighty.
Oh, I should probably open up my D&D sheets. That's probably a good idea.
So, if we are on the live screen, hello everyone. Welcome to Doctors and DMs and Dungeon Masters and
Drive-ins and dives.
Drive-ins and dines and Dungeons and Dragons. I am the DM, Morgan Forbush. I am a cultural anthropologist, master student here at UW Milwaukee, and we'll just go down the list.
And I am Thomas Malaby, Professor of Anthropology here at UWM, playing Jarl the Oak, a Battlemaster fighter, dwarf.
I'm Ati, a PhD student in the Cultural Anthropology program, and I play Haya the Barbarian.
Luke, Cultural Anthropology. Sorry, I'm going on the order on my screen. Masters, Fairfa Branfith, the dwarf artificer.
My name's Matthew Carricker. I played Balgair Kekenye, the human druid, and ditto to Ati. Except, I would say social anthropology, but maybe that's
Yeah.
another.
That's
my
a kind
degree.
of British thing to do.
True, my department was a social anthropology department.
I lean that way too.
And I'm Ren. I'm an English master's student at UWM doing the digital medias stuff. And I have my PDFs now. Wow.
There we are.
You're in. One of us. One of us.
All right.
Unfortunately, the money is more secure in English. You have to make realistic choices sometimes.
You have to fight your way to finding. That's also a way.
Well, my plan is just to force the program to let me take as many anthropology classes as possible.
That's one way to do it.
You
just have them offer
Amiibo.
me a a joint appointment, right?
There you
I'll
go.
throw some of my percentage over there, and then everything will count.
All right. So what?
I'm not gonna make comments on that.
What did we do last time? 2
Oh,
weeks
that's
ago.
it's been a while.
There was a homunculus in a sewer.
Yeah, but sorry, I totally groaned over you. Go ahead.
What? I was just being glib.
Groaned over you.
Sorry.
No, say it again because I couldn't hear you.
Oh, my homunculus was in the sewer that you drew. And then
Nasty.
erased, which made me sad.
All right. So why were you in the sewer?
After the crash, the explosion,
Mhm.
we decided that running to the sewers or like underground to investigate was a good idea. And we went to the lower level to find out which way the sewer goes, and apparently it goes to the port. And then we're at the point that we are making a decision between going back to the palace versus going back to the other side of the sewers to explore
Part of
more
our
dungeons.
idea was that if we go to the palace, we can maybe buy our get ourselves off the most wanted list because we have the box with us that is the traceable thing to the dude who is apparently maybe not working on the orders to have stolen the tablet, right?
Yeah.
And we spent, 8 in-game hours or something trying to dissect the box or
A
interpret the
non-insignificant
box.
amount, yeah.
Yeah, it was plenty of time. We probably long rested in there, no? Just kidding.
They're a short rest.
I forgot to post the meme that I wish all DMs did we level up? Box tinkering has to count for something.
That's not what
Well, I agree with the fact that going back to the palace and explaining what happened is a good way to get ourselves off the most wanted list. But also we have to explain why all of us are here, because some of us were supposed to be outside.
Yeah.
Like except 2 people. So
Well, we tell them it's because we didn't trust these wizards,
For sure.
but we needed
We
back.
knew things were going to go sideways, and look. We were
Yeah.
right.
Look,
And
Everything's
things went
sideways.
sideways.
Yeah, look, the wall's on the ceiling, ceiling's on the wall.
I can also do a performance check that I can cry that I have a PTSD and cannot be separated from my friends.
Okay. Okay.
Look, guys,
Hmm?
talking back and forth. Can we just make a decision? Because it's absolutely reeking in here. It reeks of shite, and I'm wanting it. So can we choose which way we're going? To the
To the
palace,
palace.
the harbour.
Okay.
Ow.
You smelt it, dealt it, friend.
I couldn't even have dealt this much, but I'll take the compliment, pal.
All right. I'll bring up the rear in our marching order here.
Alrighty.
And
I'm gonna
then
get some dirt off the floor and smudge on my face and everyone's face.
I'm good.
We need a story.
It's
We need
very-
a story. I'm smashing it.
Yep.
Trolling it.
Gonna have to roll for that one. I'm not. No.
Wait,
I'm
don't you still
very
have to-
clean. Please.
imagine that when you come up to Fairfa to put dirt on his face, you're looking for a spot that doesn't have dirt on it already, and you don't find one, so you move on to the next. Anyway.
Alrighty. In
We
the-
are heading
going-
the direction of the palace. Is that what we
Yeah,
decided?
so you're going yonder way. That way. Alright. So you turn to go towards the palace. And, you walk for a few minutes. As you're kind of going, it looks a lot similar to the tunnels that led from the library. So, there's tapestries, there's some sconces. You kind of notice that was maybe murals or paintings on the wall, but they've been kind of cracked, and a lot of the glazing has come off. You can kind of surmise, if you live by the sea, that salt water has kind of seeped, or the ground level water has seeped into the limestone and expanded it and cracked off the murals. And so there are incomplete paintings, but a lot of it is standard, or kind of similar to what's done tapestries, some sea serpents, old kings. There's, iconography of oceans and waves, which is ironic because that's what destroyed their paintings. And as you kind of get closer, I'm going to pull you. Oh, you got a nice map going on here, but I'm going to pull you to a different screen. It's
No,
fine.
go ahead.
You can draw on that screen.
In response to Luke's comment earlier, these drawings should be seen as like when you have a rake, in the sand, you're making nice patterns, There'll be new ones. The old ones will fade away.
So as you're walking through the sewers, you kind of start to get into the much prettier sewers that start to get more detailed. They look like they're actually have water going through them, or at least somewhat draining, and they have beautiful mosaics and things. And you can kind of, as you're walking, you kind of are realizing that you're closer and closer to the palace as you start to see this very ornate sort of sewer system.
Balgair will say, "Oh, what does my shite have to do to end up here?"
All right. And as you're kind of walking, you do start to see, like, it branches off in different ways, and you come across what looks to be a stairwell up, but it is behind a locked gate, like a grate.
So behind the gate, it goes up, you
It
said?
goes up. Yeah, there's some staircases going up.
But it's like a grate we can see through. It's not like a...
Yeah, it's like a bar door, a door of bars, a jail door, if you will.
Balgair will take his hands up to the bars and sort of like shake them just to see what's going on.
So you shake them, and you kind of hear the creaking of metal on stone that goes through the sewer.
You know, like
And it,
in Jurassic Park when he's pretending to get electrocuted by the fence.
but you kind of when you shake it, you kind of I don't know. Whoever notices this probably because it's metal, and he's worked with metal before. That the bars look quite rusted in a way, like they have not been moved. Like as when Balgar shook it, there was some debris and rust that fell off of these bars, so they have not been moved in a while.
Okay. Balgay will say, there's no way we're getting through that.
Subtle.
Impregnable.
Is there there's like a visible lock on it, or is it is it locked from the other side?
There is a visible lock on it. I have to take a call. Really
Anyone cast Shatter? No.
Yeah. Well, I can try to pick it if I can grab my dice.
You could take the elegant approach, sure, or you could take the warlock standby and blow everything up. Too bad none of us are warlocks.
You decide while I grab my dice.
Finish painting and stuff.
I would definitely try to break it, but I'm not a big fan of damaging the palace while trying to.
Well, whilst the DM's away, Balgay will say, "You see these paintings? What's going on with that? I've heard in the big cities, paintings, they sell for hundreds, thousands of gold. For what? Picture? No having that. It's absurd. What do you think about that?"
Down below it's the same thing. They always have paintings of one thing or another. It's the rich folk. They invent things to get interested in.
Aye.
It's a perfect blend of character and not.
Yeah. Aye.
You
The
think
richest
Right,
guy growing up was he had 100 sheep.
you'd think if they're worth that much money, they'd take better care of them.
There might be a law.
But why don't Verfa? Why don't you, before Haya and I just decide to tear it out of its casings there? Why don't you take a look at that little mechanism thing here? I know you're all about that.
Yes. So I will poke at it for a while. I mean, we're not in a terrible hurry, so maybe I'll spend 5 minutes or so.
And I'm going to help you. I'm going to hold a light, so you have a good angle.
And what am I rolling?
thievery? Is that
Thie-
a thing?
Sleight of
Thieves'
hand,
tools.
usually.
Thieves?
Sleight of hand, or if you have thieves' tool, use that with dex.
Mhm.
Your
Sleight of hand. Okay.
proficiency. It should be the same as your sleight of hand, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and I have proficiency, but I'm being helped. I can't roll 4 dice, can I? I'm just kidding.
If
No,
only
it's
double
an
advantage was a
advantage.
thing.
Proficiency gives you your bonus, and then so it's that.
Yeah.
It's proficiency
that's right.
index plus
If it was
advantage.
if it was 4E or 3.5, you just get extra bonuses. So someone be like, "Oh, I'm helping," and then you get +2, and then someone else gives you +2, and then someone else gives you +5, and then eventually you just get a +20, and you just win.
So 18 plus 2 plus 3, 23.
Nice.
23. I think you picked it.
That one.
Getting through that wall.
So you kind
Ah.
of, so with the light, you're kind of Verpa kind of looks at it and goes, "Oh, it's easy," and just kind of maybe it has 2 or 3 tumblers in it. Not a very
Must be a really big
hard
lock to fit all those, glasses of water or whatever the hell.
Tumblers? All the tumblers. I got you.
So you open
So
it.
it was
You
complicated
kinda,
water locks that you hit.
Yeah.
Is this a
I'm just thinking the locks at Sault Ste. Marie, actual
Yeah.
canal locks.
So now I'm thinking through, what I would have ascertained this while I was investigating to do my lock picking. But so which does the door is this a gate that would have swung either way, and was it locked? Is it a mechanism that could have been accessed from either side? You know what I mean? Was this meant to keep us from going that way, or meant to keep
It
other
was
people from coming
meant
in?
to keep people in the sewers going into the palace.
Fair enough.
As you kind of pull it open, you notice that there's a lock on the outside, but not a lock on the inside. Or yeah, there's a lock on the inside rather than whatever.
Yeah.
It's
So
locked one
it was
way.
to prevent us doing what
Yes.
we did. Okay.
Yes.
Versus the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe what happened was, instead of, you didn't pick the lock on your side, you kind of reached around and fiddled with it and then unlocked it from that side, since they're barred. So
Makes sense. I like this
Okay.
lock conversation.
locked.
Okay, let's go onward. Better face the music.
Alrighty. So you climb up so you kind of climb up and you get into this kind of basement complex. Gotta go to a different layer so I can show you it. And of course, it's on the bottom. Hold, please. Hey, give me it. Or did I put it on the wrong layer? I put it on the wrong layer. That would be why. It is
How long do you think
fixed.
we could live down here before anyone noticed? It's underground. Aye, kind of. You know,
Hey, you're speaking my language.
we could
So-
start.
Sorry.
What's that here?
Well, you say that, but I hate to tell you this, and Vero put a hand on your shoulder. There's no pubs.
In walking distance of the harbour, I thought.
Well, okay. I guess, yeah. I suppose you could leave. Or you could start an underground pub. That might be
I have
hell of a
enough
business.
alchemist supplies. We could make some bathtub gin or something.
Bathtub gym in
had-
the palace.
Well, Haya is also is proficient in poison making, and what is an alcohol if it isn't poison? So
Start a super strong, illegal drinking brewery and distribute through the ancient sewers.
There you go.
but
we
once
just
they
need an investor. Like say the Sultan, the perfect investor.
Aye, you would be.
it's a great
That's-
plan until they get rid of debris and find that we use the sewers, and they follow us and find it.
So we'll just walk up to the Sultan and we'll go, hey, I heard you think we're wanted criminals. So once we've established that problem solved, why don't we talk about investing in our business opportunities? I'm sure he'll be very, very happy.
We'll
to go out.
have him right where we want him.
Always basement complex above your sewers. Rent free for the first 13 months. We're a junior startup, for goodness sake.
So we proceed.
Yes.
Okay. So you kind of go up these stairs, and you get into this kind of lower level. It's still a lot of very nice, intricate detailing and everything. But as you're kind of lost, you're situated with among these pillars, and you see some side walls. And as you're looking around, there's no. I have to move this. Yeah, it's pretty much, you can tell that it's underneath the palace, or somewhat underground. That you've all already seen it. And as you're kind of, everyone give me a stealth roll.
Sure.
health roll.
Still, I have disadvantage.
Oh,
armor?
Oh, for goodness sake. Honestly.
Oh, look at that! I rolled a 15 and a 19, so I got a 15 on my stealth roll.
Nice.
An 18 for me.
An 18. Okay.
Unarmored movement.
So your group is overall stealthy. So this area is, with its kind of, not necessarily vaulted ceilings, but definitely, well, no, they're not technically vaulted, but they're cavernous ceilings, are quite echoey. So you're kind of keeping, your feet quite, you're not taking large steps, and you're walking very softly to not make too much noise to startle anyone. And as you're kind of walking, quietly, getting a look around, you just kind of hear Belger trip maybe on his blade and just go face first, just go right into the floor, and probably lets out just like a shit.
Oh, oh, right in
go-
the knees.
I go help him to get up.
Cheers, pal. Cheers.
Who put
No.
this
Oh.
fancy rug here? Oh, that's Balgear. My bad.
So
Oh,
you
you're
kind of hear.
listening, guys. I've cracked my sondel. I've cracked my sondel in half.
If is it still dark?
Actually, this area it's a little bit like it has some like lanterns lit, and it looks like it does have some like higher skylights, like right in the top, that are not all caved in. They do have some rubble. They just don't look like they're well kept skylights. So there is some light. It's more dim. It's not full brightness, but it's dim, so everyone can see relatively okay.
I was trying to decide whether to snuff out his brooch, but we'll let it.
Yeah. So you're also looking around and pausing, like checking for all the. So you're looking around. You don't, as you're, sitting there listening for footsteps. You kind of hear some jarbled, muffled noises. Maybe an intonation of a question, so like a raising, like "Oh, what was that?" sort of idea, but you didn't hear the words. But after a while, they kind of stop. Nothing. There's no sounds coming towards you, from what you can hear. But as you're looking around and actually like canvassing, like looking at the room, you start to notice like jail cells along the wall. I have to turn down my opaqueness of the OGM overlay. Like you see some like over here. There's some jail cells along this wall.
Look, Bulgaria, your new house, your new accommodation.
Yeah, so along the walls there's some jail cells. Some of them look to be inhabited. There might be a drunkard that's there, or as you're. Oh yeah, because you guys have traveled relatively far and wide. So like Verfa notices like maybe a traditional like Palalia garb and goes, "Oh, hey, that guy's from there." And maybe someone notices like a dwarvish person. It seems like they might be held for maybe like you can't really tell, but if you infer maybe they're held travelers or merchants who need to pay tax or something. None of them, like, there's some that look rather destitute. There's also people who look well kept. Overall, as you're moving through as silently as you can, you see about 20 for one.
Oh,
But that's for a 20, so I don't know what a nat 1 means.
they mistake you for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's about like 20 jail cells as you're walking kind of along, trying to see if you can go up or down again. And with the nat 1, like maybe Balgair's kind of looking in, like seeing what's going on. And someone might be like, maybe someone insults your plaid or something, and you're just gonna be like, "Ah, you're ugly." Sort of thing. I don't know.
What did you just call me?
How
So
loud are you? That's the question.
So the people in the jail cells are. Wait, who's the dwarves?
They're all just kind of like foreigners. The dwarves, you don't quite like. You can't quite place like, oh, those are hill dwarfs or those are mountain dwarfs. They're just
Gotcha.
dwarfs.
Gotcha.
But you can tell that they're decently dressed, so they're not like destitute dwarfs.
So I don't gotta shake them down for my amulet.
Bye, cat. But yeah, so there's like 20 jails as you're walking around. Yeah, you guys want to give me one more stealth check?
The guy who sold my plate, is he a dwarf?
Hey,
Oh,
loaded
I
dice
wish I had the
today.
camera. 16 and 17, so I got a 16 that time.
Okay.
And 19 for me.
19, 6. Balgear got a 9. Very good, very good. Yeah, so Balgear might strike up some arguments with some of the prisoners who might be like, oh, maybe there's probably some people who actually recognize, because these people are not from here. There might be a few prisoners that kind of recognize where you are and go like, oh, you're Hicks, call you Hill Hicks or something. Be like, oh, I know. And then, just maybe they don't recognize their colors, but definitely like the form of garb. So they're just kind of
Right.
like, it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah. But again, like besides from Balgear being loud, no one else really. Everyone else is being maybe quiet. Maybe they're just kind of like trying to muffle or move Balgear along. And you get to, you kind of move through the jail, and you do see several guards. I have to go back on the right page. To show you. Boop, 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 ba-doo. Token layer. So they're down here.
Well, they're well dressed.
Yeah. So there are a few in plate mail. There's a few in chain mail. They look ready to do something. It definitely looks like there's not enough for a jail this size. Like there's maybe 5 people in the jail, guards in the jail. Whereas you'd think there'd be at least 10. So they're probably reacting to whatever's going on outside. What is everyone's passive perception?
Mine's 13.
13.
11.
14.
13.
What is yours, Buggear?
13.
13.
Trizzle.
So we got some 14s. Okay. So maybe Ren, maybe I think Verfa also said you're 14?
13.
13. Okay, so Lud has the highest. So as you're kind of walking through, making your way, you find this large staircase that looks like it goes up into the palace proper. And as you're kind of walking by, you hear the guards kind of go like, "Oh, this, yeah, weirdest thing. They don't have any leads, or they don't have anything. The only thing they can think of is that order that came in and wanted that tablet, but they're not known for resorting to such heresy. Yeah, very strange, very strange." And you kind of hear one of the guards kick a jail cell, like, "Hey, quiet down in there," and kind of just kicks the bars or something, and just general. And they're like, "Oh, there was that group that want to go in the library. They think they might be stuck down there, but they also can't find the rest of the group, so it's kind of suspicious." And yeah, so they're just kind of talking about the explosion. It does seem like, and they mention, they're like, "Oh, and the clearing's gonna take, they already got like part of it done, but they're not even gonna get to the entrance for another day or two." Jamal said that they could get a skylight maybe by tonight, but that's iffy. They're just kind of talking about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So.
And I'm the only one who hears this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, just kind of glance at the party and kind of motion towards the staircase over there because it seems unguarded from what you said. So we can start making our way that way. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to telepathic contact with Jarl, who seems, in Lud's estimation, to be the most strategic of the bunch, and say they aren't going to recover anybody from the library until tonight at the earliest. So we have enough time to reach the Sultan before they find the guy we left down there. You're muted, by the way, Thomas.
I say that's a fair assessment of the situation. We clearly have assets that they don't have. We have information. We've got the box. We've got a lot to bargain with. They're in disarray. We have the tactical advantage.
Yes. And now, I guess we'll head, if everybody's cool with it, we should head towards the staircase, I think.
Hold on. You heard what they said. Insulting my plate. Insulting my pattern. This pattern means a lot to me. It's not just lines and dots. Something else. We're just going to leave and let these aerosols get away with it. Haya said he had some poison. I bet I bet these prisoners are pretty thirsty.
You've
Um,
lost me, Bulgar.
I'm just saying, when somebody insults your blade, you've got
Okay. Gotcha.
If you go around killing everybody who calls you a shag rug, there's gonna be a lot of dead bodies. Let me tell you.
If I went around killing everybody who called me a shag rug, I'd have killed 14 men.
So here's how I see it, Belger. I understand. Honor's an important thing, but
Aye.
every moment spent fighting is a moment added to the time before our next drink. You understand what I'm saying there?
You make a
So-
strong case there.
Yeah.
The need to avenge the cosmic ancients can be deferred. A couple. Let this one pass.
Maybe the Sultan can give you a decree that says that you have the best outfit in all the lands.
Is there any way to identify prisoners? Maybe I could etch down the cell numbers.
I'll give you. Maybe you kind of make a mental note on what these guys look like. So if you see them in a bar, you can punch them.
Just tell me something distinctive.
I'll take your brooch,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll undo the magical. I'll turn the light off, but then I will cast an image of the person on the backside. So it's sort of like a locket, right? That you can wear that, and you can look at it when you need to remember their face.
A revenge locket.
A revenge locket. Yeah.
It's like Oh man.
So are we walking towards the guards to hand ourselves in, or are we doing something else?
Now we're going up the staircase that goes right to the palace.
Yeah, we're avoiding the guards to get, as far as I
Okay.
understand it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, best not to take risks with guards. Let me tell you, they've tried to throw Balgir into a cell numerous times with shoddy amounts of evidence.
Bunch of crooks, them guards. Can't trust them. Just looking to fill their grain quota. Get
Lower.
their salt.
Lower ball, yeah. More. We need you to remain calm for the moment.
He looks at his brooch, the back side of it. Aye.
I'll get a
I'll
small
remember
vial.
you.
I'll get a small vial when you see him next. Not now, not today. When you see him next, just a drop.
Alright, I'm adding that to my inventory.
Revenge brooch.
It's like a sonnet about death, really.
I can put 25 words of text along with that picture. So, once you get your more of a haiku, maybe.
The Revengers haiku. My new play.
Oh, I don't remember the structure of a haiku, and I can't come up with it because I always had a hard time with
575.
syllabus.
Or you can make a Game Grumps haiku where they all end with it snowing on Mount Fuji.
I'm not even gonna try. All right, so you're ascending the staircase, correct? Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Insulted
Sudden-
my plate is 5 syllables. Just
Well, and
Assaulted
also
my blade.
5 syllables is arsehole prisoners. So the first line could be arsehole prisoners. And the last line could be insulted my blade, right? So we need 7 syllables in between.
anyway,
So
maybe
you,
stewing on this will keep Bulgar quiet.
Maybe. You just kind of like, oh, if the haiku is 575, you're just like, Belgir's like,
Oh, so I've got it. I've got it.
Love it.
Beautiful. All right, so you're ascending the staircase. You kind of go up the staircase, and you're in a kind of a more barracksy, like where soldiers might be, or where like dignitaries might like take their lunch or something like that. Let me get this on the right layer. So you have that. It still looks very ornate. the chandeliers might be less ornate than that, but it's very ornate. It has like lots of nice rugs and tables and chairs. And as you're like walking through, you kind of get a glimpse of the further interior areas that look like, instead of being vaulted ceilings, they kind of go into having 2 stories. So where like there's a balcony and then a main room, um, like this, like that. Let me get it on the right. Let me see, make it so you can actually see it.
These are great images, by the way, Morgan. I just want to say, really, really cool.
I really like the Persian like in palace architecture is really pretty with all the rugs and stuff, and that's what I envisioned this to be. Um, so you kind of get the glimpses of these 2-story. As you kind of go further in, you notice that this more servant area is quite deserted. It looks like they might have evacuated it or moved everyone out so they could help with the library. You're not entirely sure, but it's quite empty. Every now and again, they see you see some high-ranking people in their embroidered silver garb kind of rush by, not even paying attention to you. So um, you're walking by, kind of looking around things. Everyone gotta give me a perception check because you're trying to find the Sultan.
Not bad. 14.
I got 10.
Mediocre checks all around. 14 here, of course.
14, 12, 9. What did you get, Haya? Sorry.
14.
14. Okay. So maybe you take a little bit longer than you would have hoped, trying to make a slapdash to the Sultan's chambers, but you're just like, oh no, that's this looks like the kitchen. Oh, that looks like the entranceway again. Oh, we've already been here before. So you're taking a little bit longer than probably anticipated that you want. And as you're kind of, going around, perhaps you split up a little bit. You do start to bump into more guards, and you kind of, maybe you avoid them, like, oh, hey, that's a guard. But eventually you kind of surmise that you're going to have to approach the guard. Because you kind of have looked genuinely everywhere, kind of got the layout of this place. As in, like, the inner stuff is the much more, very well kept, very nice and ornate. The outside back area where you came up is like the servants' quarters, and then the entrances are very opulent for, incoming dignitaries. Beautiful plush rugs, beautiful mosaics going into the middle area, which you presume is the king's chamber.
So I have an idea. I want, if everyone can huddle around Jarl.
Mm-hmm.
My idea is that we basically stage an impromptu performance, right? So I'm going to, because I'm a battle master, I'm going to be able to add a number to my check, and if someone will help me, the performance check should do us right. But the idea is to sort of say, "Oh, I can't believe we got through that. What a nightmare that was. I don't know how we got out of there. It's so lucky that we found the way we did. We can't wait to help the Sultan get to the bottom of this." All right, so that's basically the theme, right? But it's going to be sort of a recounting of a rough sequence of events. Haya knows what I'm talking about. It's going to be a kind of what we do to spring into a crowd and get them to all like gather around and hear what we're going to say. Okay, well, how about that as a way to sort of shake them out of whatever they're doing and have them just sort of try and take in whatever information they can.
Sounds good.
We up for this?
While we're in the huddle, I think I'll probably take back the clump of fallen plaster that I made into a flashlight for Haya because he doesn't need it anymore. That way we've got my tinkering reserved for if we need it.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just kind of, let me see this. Okay, it's off now.
Hey, the fallen plaster would be the great little prop, right? Have it on the shoulders of the big Haya here, just sort of tumbling off as we sort of make our way into this hall. Like, can't believe
What's the size of the
got here.
plaster?
It's like you have it in your hand.
I just push it in.
Crush it onto your shoulder.
It's stuck there.
Oh. All right,
Oh,
you
I'm
ready?
reminded of a TV movie that I have to look it up, but
I'm also okay to take as many damage as that would require.
All right, let's do this. Haya will follow my lead. Be the performance of a lifetime. Just roll with it. All right.
Right.
So she's like, oh, I can't believe it. We're back to safety. I thought my life was going to end. Oh, like no sound I'd ever heard. Haya, how did we survive?
I just pull it off at that point. Ah! Panting, out of breath.
all right.
I'm
Can I
trying
be
to
like
gather
trailing?
myself.
Can I be like trailing behind them with like looking like I'm trying to dress their wounds or something to tandem tactician help both of them?
Never seen anything like it. Damn Wizards of the Order didn't know they had it in them.
All right, give me a performance check.
All right, performance check.
Do I get the tandem
With
help
advantage,
off?
right? Because I was
Yeah,
hoping.
with advantage. Yeah.
And I think
Well,
I'm
you
going to
get
add
double
a Battle Master die to this too, which is a D8. So 18 plus 5, 23.
23.
bad.
Alrighty.
I don't know if you can see those
Wow.
numbers or not. It looks very. My camera always looks very foggy to me, very blurry.
It would be okay if they weren't if it were just the dice that you were rolling, I think.
Oh, the dice are the problem.
Like you get the back end, it's fine if we saw just the dice that you were rolling, it'd be okay.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay. So you kind of do this, and you're kind of standing in front of like it's not a door per se, but it's kind of a ornate archway that has like a curtain in front of it. And there's probably there's still probably a good 10 guards around this area. There's some that you can see a little bit past the curtain. There's there's 2 guards each way, like pairs of guards. Some looking like down the corridor or down the way a little bit. And you kind of see a few like a few. I meant like a 6. Like 6 of them kind of break off and kind of come towards you, kind of like looking a little like confused, and they kind of walk up to you, and they seem like they're believing it. They seem like they're kind of like concerned, very confused.
And I'm doing the kind of, oh, thank God you're here. Oh.
They kind of they look exactly like the little token guys that I have down here. So they're kind of in this like veiled chain, which is really neat. I think that's a really cool look. And they're kind of just sit there and they kind of go, state your business here. There shouldn't be anyone in.
Our business is we survived, and we know you still have surviving librarians down there. I want you to know they're not dead. It's worth your time to dig through that rubble for them. Noble lads, fine sorts down there. But they weren't ready for our journey.
And a head guard who looked like he's wearing like half plate. He kind of looks at you, goes like, Alex, you probably like, well, how did you get out of the library? Wait, if you were in the library, here. And he kind of like motions to the rest of the guards, and they kind of surround you. Like, if you're in the library, we're gonna have to detain you. There's questions that we need answered. There's things that we need to discuss.
We've got those answers, but they're for the ears of the Sultan only. We don't know who to trust anymore.
Fucking gods, man. Shady as fuck.
The guard captain kind of looks at you like, the Sultan isn't taking any guests. He's.
Well, then I guess you're not getting information, because how do we know it's not going to get to the same people who betrayed us and betrayed you?
Because we're not them.
But
Hey, that's what the other guys said.
We're not the order. So he goes, I'm sorry, sir. If you can follow us, we'll take you to. If you're not going to give us information, we're not going to even identify yourself. We're going to take you down to the jail. Maybe that'll give you some, time to reflect.
Listen, I'm just saying we've got to talk to somebody we can trust. Here, Hyatt, tell him what's what.
Well, first of all, my wound is hurting me, so excuse if I have any.
Ah!
We are the group who recovered pins and brought them back. We were in the library today, and while we were in the library, an explosion happened. The the floor crushed, and with the help of your librarians, we found a gateway to the sewers. And following the sewer, we came here to say you that, tell you that we are safe, and there are librarians down there are still alive, waiting to be rescued. But more importantly, we think we have evidence to lead to whoever done this, and we have to talk to a proper high level management. Could be Sultan himself, or we have some friends.
Oh, right.
Uh, Johan, Sir Johan. Uh, he does know us, so if you can like get us in contact with him, we can. Ah, uh,
Let me take care of that for you. Oh,
Lad, poor lad, Lud, please do something.
doing everything I can. What if it's
He's been through
infected?
so much.
And it could be festering with all sorts of maggots and bacteria and just the worst things. The plague. It could be a plague.
The guard captain kind of just like waves. He's like, all right. Here. I was under the understanding there was only supposed to be 2 people in that library. We were.
so we messed that part. That's on us because we didn't trust people.
Didn't trust
Not
the
you
wizard we
people.
took in there.
We didn't trust the wizard we took in there. He
Oh.
didn't know that we would be there. We were keeping an eye on him.
All right. This captain seems to be getting quite like I don't want to talk to you people.
Good.
They're like,
That's
stop
one of my
talking.
favorite Can I just say above table, below? My favorite techniques into D&D is to talk NPCs to death until they're like, all right, fine, whatever.
So he kind of goes, okay, here, come with me. And so he motions, and all 6 guards are going to escort you to wherever you're going. And he escorts
Sounds
you
good.
to what looks to be a meeting room. It looks very similar to this red entrance room, so it has,
Mhm.
a decently plush couch that you sit on. There's a oaken table, perhaps to spread a map out. It looks like kind of a normal, what you presume is a meeting room, except much more extravagant than you've ever seen. And as you kind of pass through these inner areas of the palace, you just see room after room of, there's these beautiful lush red rooms like the one that you get put in. There's also ones that are blue and green, and there's ones that have, opals that just look like it's like a full opal room full of just like opalescent, very sparkly pearlescent. And this is a very beautiful, beautiful palace. It's probably the most extravagant thing you've seen since the Shattering. Um, since that time, people wear, mostly dark wools. There might be some silver. There might be some, brassy colors, but nothing quite as brilliant and bright as, red, golds, blues, purples. And so you're just kind of walking through, going like, "Oh, okay, this is a palace." so, they kind of march you through the guards, just kind of. They show you to this like red room. They kind of go, "You may sit here. Would you like me to get a medic for your wound, sir?"
Please.
Yeah. All right. I'll grab a medic. Hopefully they have one to spare from the courtyard. I'll get Sir Johan in here and he can talk to you. You'll also be talking to me. We want to get a debrief. We want to make sure we know what's going on. And he kind of motions 2 guards over. He's like, "These fellows will search you while I'm going to get Johan." So, actually, he leaves like 3 guards with you. So 3 guards leave with him. There's now so there are 7 guards. So
Can I ask?
yes.
The little box is still in Verifus' possession, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I trust Verifus got all kinds of ways to cover up for that, so
Mhm.
I'm not going to worry about it.
So The guard captain is this guy with a shield. That's what he looks like. The rest of them are just kind of in plain chainmail. So 3 chainmail guards get left. The captain leaves with 3 other people and walks away. And he looks like he goes a different way from the palace, so he looks like he knows where he's going. Or he sends a guard to go get him. Something like that. He just leaves. And then these 3 guards kind of look at you and they go, alright, put down any attached pockets, jackets, backpack. We want this orderly. We don't want any trouble. And we're just gonna do this one at a time. If you could all line up.
What's going on in the room right now? Like, describe. Can I do a perception check on the room?
Yes, you can.
I would like to. Oof, that's bad. That's a 6.
All right. So.
And I'm just going to say, as they're starting to do this, I'm going to say, yeah, I appreciate you got to do the business you got to do. We've been through a lot, though, and we'd certainly appreciate a drink of some sort after you're finished looking through our belongings. And I'm going to make I'd like to try to persuade him to do that.
Okay. And you just say drink?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
something strong stuff that
Okay.
to settle our nerves. We've been through a lot.
Mm-hmm. So while you're rolling that, so you rolled what, a 3? That's your perception?
Technically a 6, but I rolled a 2 flat.
16 and 6. I'm spending another commanding presence die, so 22.
22. All right. So
I'm gonna pat Belger on the back. See, we got this taken care of.
So what Lud's just like overwhelmed by the sheer amount of color and the work that goes into this architecture. So you're just like, you catch yourself staring at the mosaic on the ceiling and just being like, oh wow, look at all those patterns, and you're kind of like tracing how the chandeliers hung. You don't get anything really.
Okay. Is there a
You're
carpet
just
on the floor? Like we needed a basic. Okay.
Yeah,
Then,
there's a carpet on. It's not like a rug. It covers pretty much the whole entire thing. So there's no way if you wanted to say roll up something or hide something underneath it, you'd have to walk over to the side, pull up this really heavy plush, and then put it under it. And there's no way that you could like perhaps
Better.
roll something up in it.
well, what I was gonna ask is,
If that's what you're thinking.
yes, it is what I'm thinking. If I'm already we're getting in a line so they can check us one by one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would move to the back of the line and kneel down as if I'm tying my shoe and cut a hole in the rug with my knife. And then I want to slip the ornate dagger under the rug right there.
Okay. You're gonna have to do a stealth check.
Yeah, I
can
do
for
that.
it, because there are like 3 people there. Someone's like, there's probably like someone overseeing. Also, I have to say, you cutting through a beautifully handmade Persian rug makes me very sad.
I was just thinking the same thing.
It's a small
especially
cut.
one of that size.
Yeah, the huge, big, like whole big Persian rug, just like slice.
DM, is there a chance that I kind of see that he's shifting himself to the end of the line, and maybe I can time my request for a drink to sort of distract them for a little bit and give him a little help with this check?
I would say that since there's 3 people there, it's hard to distract all 3 of them. So one of them might be like, oh, okay. So you might be able to succeed in, sending one person away, because there's only 2 people that he'd have to, roll against.
Well, I'm not trying.
3.
Yeah, it's not that I'm trying to send them away so that they won't see him. I'm just trying to distract everybody with the request.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so if their attention's on me while he does it as I'm talking.
I would say that that's kind of a hard sell.
Okay.
Kind of, because there's, one person might be like, oh, fine, I'll go, whatever. And the other people might look at you, but there's probably an understanding between 3 of them that all of them need to be looking at the party at all times, because they don't know who you are.
Sure.
Like I said, if you send someone away, there's 2 people perceiving instead of 3 people, so you are doing something. It's just not quite advantage like you want. But yeah.
Actually, other question, and this is entirely up to you. There's nothing in this ability that says I would necessarily be able to do this, but I have an ability that we've talked about before that when I cast it on an item, it slips past armors and the like. It's specifically called Ethereal Weapon. Now, there's not a lot of flavor about how that happens, but I was wondering if I could.
The rug is an armor.
What I'm saying is, what if I just slipped the dagger through the rug instead of making the cut, which would still require stealth, but would be less invasive to the beautiful rug.
I would say you can. So
Trying to
So-
think of a way that Fairfuck can use this.
so
I
here's,
don't even know what tools it would be, but to help
here's
him
might be
stitch it.
the caveat with that. So it's not a returning dagger,
Right.
right? So what you're doing is you're going to put it under the carpet, not cut it, and just put it under the carpet, and then you're going to have to retrieve it.
Yes.
AKA roll up the carpet.
Oh, no. Just cut the carpet. But it's
To get
easier
the dagger.
Yeah, but I can cut on my terms as opposed to on their terms, which might be a little bit easier.
I want to. I don't think. I'm trying to think of how thick a Persian rug is. How thick like
It's not
armor
that
is.
thick.
It's not that thick. So maybe. No. You know what? No. You're
Okay.
gonna have to cut the rug anyway, so don't worry about it.
All right.
I appreciate the thought. So you're kind of looking around. You'll do that stealth roll, and that'll be in the stack of when people get searched.
Okay.
So one of the guards kind of goes, okay, well, yeah, sure, we'll get you something, and they kind of walk out as the other two guards are kind of corralling your belongings, your bags and things, and kind of maybe sifting through them.
What are we going to do with the 2 arm blades I have? That I attuned to me. They're literally on my arm.
You don't know. We don't know. But before, so that they're kind of corralling you. They're kind of like, okay, I'll get in a line and thing. And then, right as they go, okay, we're gonna start searching you, or like you've gotten into the line, sort of thing. About like a minute later, the guard comes back with a beautiful, like nice, ornate silver tray with a teapot and some tea.
I said strong stuff.
Oh well.
Settle the nerves.
The guard kind of laughs, like, well, the palace tea is the strongest you can get. This will
We've
definitely
steamed
help.
it for 28 minutes.
It's like super burnt.
It's very.
You didn't even know that tea could get burnt until we
Maybe there's some,
steamed
like-
it for 28 minutes.
Maybe it's coffee.
So Belger may be getting caffeine for the first time in his life.
Yes.
Second time, guys.
They probably also bring some coffee. Some
I believe
strong black coffee.
When did you have?
How long do they roast it? I mean, God, what, for like 30 days?
second time lucky.
Bal, when did your character have coffee before? I forgot.
At the Misty Dew,
Oh,
the
I
morning.
think I was bullying him
Alright.
to drink coffee.
that's
You were-
right.
You're like,
That's
please drink
right.
this coffee. You are hungover like no other. So they bring in this tray. They set it down, kind of on a little setting thing, like, and you can drink this once we search you, sort of thing. And give me the lineup here. Let me drag your tokens in, and you can line them up with how you are lined up,
Okay.
if we wish to do that.
I have a question about whether my character was smarter than I am.
Okay.
So, back during that 8-hour period when Lud and Fairfo were looking at this box, would Fairfo have been cautious enough to have put it in the box that looks like a book,
That
or
is
is
a
that
good.
or is that something I should try to sneakily do now? I suppose in a narrative sense it'd be more entertaining if I tried to do it now, but
It's up to you. I would say it's like kind of like a 70-30 sort of thing of if it was like I feel like you might have been like, oh well, this can be used again. Like you've realized that it has 2 attunements, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put it in the box, sort of thing. Like I can imagine that Verfa might have had that thought, but
Yeah.
also if you want to be more like, oh, he just forgot, then you can do it right now. It wouldn't be that hard. I presume that both are in like a bag or like your pocket that you're turning out, so you can just be like quickly and then close it and something like that. So
all right. Yeah, I guess in that case we'll maybe pretend that in the kerfuffle of investigating it he forgot, just because I think it makes a better story.
okay, yeah, okay.
But
So,
so sort
everyone-
of like how Lud is trying to hide the dagger in the carpet.
Okay.
I might be, trying to, maybe pretending that I'm loosening my, you know, rucksack or whatever for them to search, but I'm also surreptitiously trying to stick the magic
Yeah.
cube in.
Okay.
Telling you,
you'll just-
guys, this is pure sketch, man. You don't want to get
pure sketch.
Yeah, they don't let you go.
For some reason, my brain, when I do like reading, it's right to left, but when it's like counting, I go right. I go right to left. I don't know. I go 1, 2, 3, and not 1, 2, 3. Very strange. So what I have right now is Jarl first, Lud last, but you can change that if you wish.
Oh, I see. You just want a line, not on
Yeah,
the
just a
image.
line. Like you're in a line. You guys can arrange yourself in any way you wish.
So
you
Feth
think
is
that's
gonna
better.
move back, so he has a minute to.
Or like.
I'll go second to just like, because mine will take a bit of time.
We'll go in the middle.
Never in my life have I actually wished I took the talent that lets me meld a blade into my arm.
I cannot click on my token.
And just in general, because I feel like Jarl has been through a lot of these kinds of things, checking in and out of drow cities or whatever, and just almost out of habit. He's just going to keep a rap going, just to try and occupy some of the attention of the guards, so that they just are a little less proficient at their job. Whoever is searching, just nonstop, talking and banter.
No, Balgir's good at this. Balgir's,
Mhm.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
What's your name? You think? You
Okay.
We can team up for it, Balgar, until they're like, just would you two just,
So
Exactly.
weapons. So we have arm blades on Haya. I presume that you didn't like take out like you didn't refrain from having your weapons unless you're going to the library. In that case, like maybe they did take your weapons.
I didn't carry any weapons.
Um,
Hey, pal, you can touch me. You wouldn't find nothing.
I wouldn't probably take out my weapon
Okay.
because it requires attunement. So it's not really just like something you can just grab and start fighting.
Yeah.
And it's in
So-
my arm, so like
in your
it
arm.
can easily be hidden.
Yeah. So they're kind of going down the line. Who has the rubbing?
Which
think-
rubbing?
Either of them.
I know the one we left the faux rubbing. I don't know what happened to the real one.
I think I have it.
Okay. So they're
Oh no,
probably.
Jarl has it.
oh, do I have it?
I don't remember.
I at this point, I feel like you guys have got enough planning for like the two things that you're worried about, and you forgot about the rubbing, and they're just like, "Here's the rubbing,"
Fair enough.
Okay.
sort of thing. So they put down their tea. They're kind of searching. They search your bags. They don't really see anything. Maybe they grab out your gold, and they go, "Okay, that's a lot of gold."
As far as I'm concerned, the rubbing is proof that we were there on the up and up to help the wizards.
Mhm. Yeah. So they're kind of they look through their bags, they all that kind of stuff. Give me so they search Jarl, they find the rubbing. They're probably like find it in your pocket or something. They kind of go like,
Mm-hmm.
"What's this?"
Oh well, we were trying to help the wizards. We did the rubbing for them, but the guy was wandering around. I couldn't understand it. He dropped his bag, left the tablet. We thought, well, all right, let's get this done for him, so that they can have the information they want about this, just the text from this thing, and then before you know it, the explosion happens, right? So this is we're just left holding this thing because we thought this is what it was all going to be about, but no.
They kind of look at it and, all right, and they put that. They don't give it back to you. They kind of put it. They hand it off to the guy who's searching. Hands it off to the person who's like doing overlook, and he keeps it for the moment.
I'm just going to say, oh, but you know what? I don't know if I don't know if I rolled it up correctly. There may be some smudges on that, but Verfo over there, he can make sure that it's still in good shape for you.
We'll deal with that later. Don't Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so like he moves on, like searches Haya. They look at they question you about your blades. If you're like, they're stuck to me. What do you want me to do with them? And they go like, whatever. Like magic items, I guess, magic items or whatever. And so, they search. Not really. They might find your gold. They might turn out your pockets a little bit. Let's see how rough they are. They're not like rough with you, but they're not necessarily like soft gloves. They're definitely trying to make sure that you don't have any weapons that they don't know about. They might confiscate. They might feel up Belgair a little bit too much, kind of like looking for pockets, and you're like, I don't have any pockets, and that's definitely not a pocket. Sort of making sure everything.
Can I roll? 1 second. Have I got I
Do you have intimidation?
due to intimidation. That's not good. No, I'll let it happen.
Okay. So there's
Emblem.
all right, and then Verfa, give me your sleight of hand to kind of try to jigger the things
It was
in.
I rolled it before. It was 18.
Okay. 18. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
let me get out some.
I'm a druid. I transform into snakes.
I also like the idea of like Verfa comes up, and he probably does this very consciously, right? He knows what's in what pocket, but they say turn out your pockets, and the first one he turns out is just like pebbles
Crap.
and dirt, yeah, sticks.
Stone that you make stinky, like that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
so
stinky stone.
Here, hold this kind of thing.
Yeah. And so you do pretty convincingly, you're kind of like shuffling your pockets, and then you give them the book, and they kind of look at it. It goes like, oh, like they look at the spine. Let me give me one more wisdom check.
from the loops in
Oh
my
no, they're stupid. Okay.
the guard will take out my my hemp rope with 50 feet of hemp rope that I keep coiled up inside my plaid, and the guard will put that on the table, and I'll say that's for climbing. And what else is there? My shawm. They'll take my shawm out of and I'll be like, look like you've never seen a shawm before. And that's all. That's pretty much my inventory.
They might give you a kind of look, be like, how can you carry Sham on your person? Like they're a little bit confused about that. They don't think the guards kind of take a look at the book, and they kind of read the cover and they go, oh, whatever. Like they kind of toss it aside. They don't actually think to look into it. That's because they failed their intelligence check.
I had a whole story lined up.
Well, you can tell that story if you want.
No,
so
it's
you like
good. I'll save it
Alright.
for next time.
for next time. They look the book, and they look the thing. They are very like as you turn out your pockets, it becomes evident that you might be an artificer, and they kind of give you like this weary glance, like, sir, are you an artificer?
Do they all go on edge right now, by chance?
Yeah, decently. Like at least two of them. The third guy who's kind of doing the overlook doesn't quite understand, like hasn't registered what's happening right now. So
I'm
he's
gonna
just
wait
kinda,
for
like,
that third guy to register, and when he does, that's when I'm gonna slip the knife under, because that's the opportune moment.
Okay.
So Verfa is gonna go into one of my favorite improv strategies to try to draw on the exhausting the NPCs thing that we were just talking about, and he's gonna answer every question with a question.
Okay.
So he's gonna the first one here is gonna be, well, what makes you think that?
Well, I've heard. We've heard about what artificers do, and you got a lot of artificer memorabilia, attunement things. That's why we think you're an artificer. Are you an artificer?
What makes my tools different than anybody else's tools?
Well, your tools are heresy. That is why.
My arm still no medic.
Since when are Mason's tools heretical?
Heretical. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
How loud are
like-
you being about this, by the way?
Well, I'm talking
Quite
enough
loud.
that
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. I think the third guy is probably catching on when heresy gets mentioned, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now's a great time
Maybe,
to
yeah.
take advantage of the situation. Just so you know, DM, I just want you to think very highly of my skills.
Okay. Okay.
I could DM while this is going on, could I take my horn of silent alarm, blow it, and have that last guard be the only one who hears it? The one that is the one that basically that Lud is worried about.
Yeah. I have.
Like I'm checking it, like there's some dust in here, kind of thing. Look at this. Look at inside, and they're like,
Let me.
and then no one hears a sound except this one guy hears in his head.
I gotta check something.
Oof, bad roll. I need that advantage if I can get it. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm trying to help him with this. Right?
Oh, maybe it's just a horn. Let me try. I'm looking for it. Googling it. Okay. I want to read what it is.
Because they were just rifling through my equipment. Now I'm trying to get it all back in place. And did they mess with that?
Okay, so it's just one creature of your choice. Okay,
Yep.
sweet. Because if it was like one, like willing creature or something, like it had to be
Right,
like,
right,
hey,
right,
I have chosen these people and they've agreed to hear my horn. But yeah, that's what I was just checking. So you kind of do that, and
I don't want him to see it. I'm like turned the other way, but I'm blowing on it like I'm trying to whatever. And he suddenly.
He seems a little bit distracted. He kind of like does a look around, kind of like looks at you, kind of like what just happened? Like I don't want to quite understand. So he's a little distracted.
Does that give me the advantage I need?
I really want to say no because I want to see the hilarity that ensues if they do find you hiding the dagger. But also, I will allow an advantage because it makes sense.
Yes.
Hey,
now that's some good roll. What modifier do I use for this, by the way? Is this sleight of hand?
It's sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand? Okay. And that's a 22.
Yeah. Okay. So back to Verfa, they're like, well, Mason tools are fine and all unless you use them to unleash mechanical horrors on the world. That's what happened with the shattering. Don't you know? I mean, you're a dwarf. You were alive at that time, right?
I'll indicate over to the pile of rocks they just pulled out of my pocket and say, "What do you think I use mason tools for?"
Well, obviously, use mason tools to rend the earth to your will, to destroy it, to rip it apart, like what you freaks did for 20 years ago.
One pebble at a time.
He kind of goes like, my father told of a world where artificers ran rampant, and so he just kind of goes on a rant against artificers. How's Furfa's temper? Is he kind of even keeled, or does he get angry?
He will not fly off the handle.
Okay. Okay.
He is
so,
sturdy like a rock. Okay. He's well reasoned but not articulate.
Okay. So they're just kind of like saying, it's like, what the. They might look at like Belger like, your parents must have told you, and artificers are like, how can you travel with an artificer? He's gonna lead to the death of the world. Again.
An artificer. Who's the artificer you're talking about?
What kind of strange world is this when a dwarf with mason's tools is a cause for alarm? This is unlike anything I've ever heard. I mean, it makes no sense to me.
Committed a crime here? Has there been a crime committed?
Sorry, I'm looking at my cat. He's eating something. So the guards are kind of in this furor, are kind of whipped up in this kind of thing. But then eventually, like they kind of talk, and then one guy, like the third guy, you see the third guy kind of like after he looks around with the horn, he kind of looks out and spots the guard captain coming back, and he kind of goes, "Hey, cool it," kind of thing, like, "Hey, and Jamal's coming back," and they're like, "Oh, okay," and so they move on to the last guy. And as they're doing this, you're trying to like hide it under your foot with the commotion.
Mm-hmm.
Or do whatever you're doing. Are you just cutting
like
it and putting it in, or?
So I lean down like I'm retying the laces of my boot, make a quick cut of the rug, and then slip the dagger in the hole.
Okay. So as you like lean down, you kind of there's one guy who's arguing, and then one guy's who's just like standing there, like finishing the search, and that guy kind of looks over and he goes like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He
Just-
rolled very high in his perception. I'm sorry.
Oh, just tying my shoes. Well, actually, I should ask, how far in the act am I right now?
I would say that I see you distract, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna take this." So you might have just like started to maybe attempt to cut the rogue, maybe.
So, okay. So the rug has not been cut yet. Okay.
You're like just about to cut it. Like you lean down, you've gotten the knife out of your boot or wherever you're hiding it, and
All right.
go to cut.
All right. Yeah, so I'll just say, "Oh, I'm tying my shoes." And I'll hold the rug on the opposite side of my boot from where he's looking.
Okay. He goes, "Well, you don't need your shoes for standing here. Stand up."
You want to come take my shoes off? Well, that seems kind of rude. I'll have you know
Well,
my
if
feet
you
are
weren't
very
adventurers,
smelly.
we would have asked you to take off your shoes. This is a visitor room, so we don't, have people take off your shoes. But if you were going to go see the Sultan or visit anyone in their chambers, you'd have to take off your shoes. But please stand up.
I'd just like to finish what I'm tying my shoes here. And while I'm distracting him with this, I'm gonna take a quick peek to my side. Is there like a couch over that way, by chance? I see a couch in your image.
Yes, you're kind of like standing in front of it. You're kind of like
Perfect.
carpet,
I will
sort of
use
thing.
my psionic ability move to let go of the dagger and slide it telepathically under the couch,
okay,
just out of his line
but
of
it's
sight.
on top. You're on top of the room, right?
Yes, well, yeah,
Okay.
it's not like you said. I didn't get the incision off, so I'm using the fact that two of them are having a conversation with Verfa, and one of them is currently looking at me, but only from one side, to push the knife essentially the direction of or under the couch precisely.
Okay.
Just
So you see, I rolled their perception, so you see that guy kind of go like, stand up, and you can see that he notices movement. It's a pretty black dagger on a red carpet, and so you can tell that he noticed some movement, but you can't tell if he like immediately recognized it as something he needs to go look at. But you do notice that he like his eyes moved and went, oh, and then got you back up.
okay, that's good.
So
Yeah, I'll stand up.
searches you. Cat just ran in. Searches you. Looks. It doesn't really. I don't think you have anything on your person other than the dagger that would have.
Yeah,
curiosity.
I mean, no, I don't think so, unless he has like an issue with me having 997 ball bearings and
I feel like what might happen is you have like this pouch of ball bearings in like a pocket, and they're kind of searching this, and they are a little gruff, and they go like, "Oh, what's this?" And they pull it out, and like, 52 pick up like the ball bearings, kind of like spill out a little bit before they get it closed. So you lose like 20 ball bearings. Just
yeah, and I'm
scattered on the
gonna
floor.
look at them with like this look of absolute detestment, like you have dishonored my family levels of anger, and just say, you don't want to piss me off, so why don't you give me that fucking bag back?
Can I ask what you're doing with so many ball bearings?
What does
I'm your
anyone
wizard.
do with a set of ball bearings?
Well, I mean, you
They
have an artificer in
lubricate
your
joints, all right? I don't see
your
now that any of you would be smart enough to know how to lubricate a joint. Now, would you? Otherwise, that man is not an artificer. But you're too dumb for that. You can't even tell a mason from a carpenter, I bet. I bet your mom, you can't tell your mom from any other bar wench in the street. Out here telling me what I'm doing with ball bearings. Unbelievable. I will have a word with the Sultanate about how poorly you have treated one of the prince's friends.
I'm
But
sure you're
when
one
you
of the
all-
prince's friends. Yeah.
Should have known better than to touch his balls.
So, he goes, I apologize.
Or my
Tamir,
stones.
Tamir, can you come help pick these up? And so the guy who's overwatching comes to pick up all the ball bearings.
I'm just going to stand there and watch them pick up every single one of the ball bearings and obnoxiously point out every single one.
All right. So he's doing that, and while that's happening, the captain comes back into the room. with Sir Johann. I don't have a picture for Sir Johann, but he's
Yeah,
there.
what the sunlight's doing.
Huh?
What kind of daytime daylight's coming through the windows? What kind of time of day we're looking at?
That's a good question. So you went in there like 12-ish,
Yeah.
like morning time. I was there for like an hour, and then it collapsed, and then it's like springish. So it's the sun hasn't. It is lower down. It's probably like 3-ish, like afternoon time. So there's some long shadows, but it's still pretty bright out. It's kind of mid-spring, so it's not like December where the sun sets at 4 sort of thing. So it'll go down in a few hours. It's kind of waxing a little bit, but it's still there. And like looking around, you know that at a certain point they'll go around and light a few like wax candles, or like oil candles to light the room. All right. So the captain comes in with your Sir Johann, and he sees the guy and goes. He sees the guard counting ball bearings, like picking them up. He goes, what are you doing? And one of the guard goes, he dropped some ball bearings, picking them up. And the captain goes, whatever. Okay, please be seated. So, I presume. Oh, and it also brings a medic for Haya.
I love that the mason's tools and a pocket full of rocks tips them off as if I'm an artificer, and then ball bearings spill out of my
They were gonna say something like, "Hey,
companion's
I've
pocket.
heard." Well, they did say like, "Hey, you should work with an artificer," like, as well as like, I was gonna say like, I heard wizards can manipulate them and shoot them at people because that's what
Yeah.
most like wizards do. That's what people use ball bearings for typically, is being like, "Oh, I'm going to animate object and throw them at people." But yeah,
Nothing of the sort. Purely joint
he
lubrication.
motions for you to sit on the nice plush couches, as Johann, and motion to be like, "Hey, please, I see you have brought coffee and tea. Thank you."
Can I conveniently sit on the couch where the dagger is under?
Well, you see, Lud, you have a guard picking up ball bearings directly behind you, pretty much.
Oh, I'm not trying to
directly
pick
your
the dagger
side.
up. I'm just sitting down on the couch where I know the dagger is.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, good.
No, as you sit down, you realize you have a guard on the floor picking up ball bearings.
Well, the thing is that from the design of those couches, it looks like they have a drape.
Who knows? I don't know. I can't tell. But you are under. There might be an issue, I will say.
Oh, only if you can see through a opaque drape. Quite the eyes on that man.
Yeah, we'll see. He might be looking for ball bearings, man.
Well, I've pointed out where every single one is, so there shouldn't be a problem.
We got our cocktail of the day in chat. So they sit down to discuss. Do you guys want to take a small break? It's been about
Yes, please.
about like an hour. So take a small break. Take like 5 minutes. Get a drink.
All right.
Okay.
Gonna make my cocktail.
Alrighty.
Excellent.
Alright.
Hey, Matthew. Why are you smiling at?
Why am I smelling? Are you
Yeah.
calling me smelly?
Smile, not smell.
Just having a nice time. Just having a nice
Okay.
time, friends.
Good to hear.
Right, I'll be right back. Couple
Yeah,
minutes.
I'll be holding on to the stream for the moment.
Aye, good stuff. Yep.
Yeah, nothing really is happening today. The no fight day. A sad day for a barbarian.
Hello.
Hello.
You ever heard about the Constitution of Arbroath, my American friends?
The Constitution of the what?
Arbroath.
No.
No.
Is that like something like Magna Carta or something?
You're gonna get joked on. It's coming.
Well, I thought it might interest you guys.
Look at
Then
this weird, like, thing that's going on with my ice cream cone. It's got a little bump.
put it in the chat.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's all the way around, so I think it looks like the cone depressed before they put chocolate on it.
I'm the governor of California.
The
Ah,
cauliflower.
yeah, cauliflower.
California
the-
is a fake
What did I
place.
come to?
After Robert the Bruce won, okay, I have a very vague understanding of the historical context here, but it'll just take 2 minutes. After the Robert the Bruce left the scene, Robert II was in charge for 15 years before the Pope, in an astounding move of European chessmanship, said that Edward, I think the second of England, the one who in Braveheart's gay and married to the French woman, the Pope said, can be overlord of all Scots. So what happened was all the Scottish nobles got together and they wrote this big ass letter to the Pope, basically saying, we're not going to take it. We're going to keep like killing each other, fighting the English until this ends. And my favorite paragraph is like, for example, pal, it's like pros of letting the Scots into Christendom. Number one, you got a crusade on, and most of your kings are like, oh, I don't want to go because I'd rather fight my neighbours because you make more money that way. You know, us Scots would happily fight in the crusade, but we're just too busy fighting the English, you know. So if you let us have, you know, our own dominion, then we'll fight in your crusades. Why not?
That's pretty good.
Do you want us to fight the English, the Crusades, or both?
And a big part of it, one paragraph's all about like we're no daft cunts. Like we read books, alright? I know what's going on in Greece, Scythia. All the boys know what's going on in Scythia. We'll follow the books, you know?
That's fantastic. I thought you were setting up for some like bizarre pun, but I mean clearly.
That's why I had to say our both, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the earliest document. Some people point to it as an early document for ruling based on consensus, because the King of Scotland, is not the king of the land, but of Scots. Whereas the King of England ruled through divine right to the land, the King of Scots ruled over Scots, and a consensus among Scots that they were independent from English people. And so directly they say something like, you know, and if the King of Scots, because they chose Robert the Bruce over this other guy, and they were like, well, that other guy couldn't keep us free from the English. So in that, they imply that the function of the King of Scots is to keep Scots independent from English people. And if the King of Scots can't do that, the Scots will get another king who will do that. So it creates this relationship and even a definition of Scots, right, as this group of people who refuse English rule, right, and the King of Scots as a functionary who will maintain that independence, you know. And so when, you know, some people can be quite reductive about Scottish nationalism and say it's just nationalism, but the historical particularism of the kinds of nationalism that Scots have, you see, is a little bit more complex and has always been defined in a more of a vague notion of civics, I would say, you know. So rather than we're all Scots because we're from here, it's always been implied we're all Scots because we have this common belief that we're not English, basically. We're not under the dominion of the overlordship of Edward II.
Poles have a similar sort of, you know, identity that, you know, the the Poles were Poles even when Poland wasn't a thing. You know.
Yeah. Poor Poland, man.
Yeah, man.
That looks
There's the
pretty.
There's that
cocktail
Milwaukee
today.
sunset.
Fancy. That's really nice.
Thank you. That is a triple crown.
I can win
With-
all of the races.
That's right.
As long as
No
it wasn't dope.
enhancing drugs. That's right. None in this cocktail. Well, except for the traditional ones.
If you put drugs
It
in a
affects-
cocktail, does that make the cocktail a junkie?
If it affects your, the question is, what cocktail of drugs did they give the horse?
That's right.
But if it affects your dice rolls, then we know.
A drug of cocktails.
I mean, I presume there's a drug scandal in horses, but I also have no idea what this drug scandal in horses was.
Cheers. You got any more of that prosecco there, Matthew?
Well, it's just the Aperol mixed with tonic water now, but it's got the same kind of bitter taste, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers, guys.
Cone of ice cream. Cheers.
Man, this is a good cocktail. Wow. I think I'm going to make this one when everybody comes over. For anyone who would like it. That's good.
Amazing. I'll need to get a full list so I can replicate it here.
When do you
Sure.
move to America?
Oh, that's a good question. My wife's just getting on at me. Have you started that visa process yet? Don't make me take charge. You know, because she does it for her work. She works for Red Cross, but my in logistics. But
I gotcha.
I've got all the pieces. I got my I-20 from the uni. I've got the one for my dependent, and all the finances are sorted. So it should just have to sit through the 2002 era web browser, the Asian.
The beautiful government site.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least it's not the DMV, but I guess you'll probably have to deal with that at some point too.
Well, the DMV,
Oh, be right back.
the Wisconsin DMV websites are well made, but are just a bunch of dead ends.
Ha!
Like, hey, if you want a driver's license, click here, and then you click it, and it's like, page not found. Like, did someone just not make it?
Error 404.
Based on their logo, the Wisconsin DMV is operated by Klingons.
I don't get that joke. But it's fine.
You'll see.
I have to, make I don't know. I need to feel like, because the Indian strain is in Bolton right now. The Indian strain of COVID is in Bolton right now, and that's the thing. So I need to, do I leave early, or do I just assume that everything's going to be fine, I feel like the thing about travel ban is it's all holidays. There's enough of a neoliberal consensus that if you need to go somewhere for money, you can go,
Yeah. Right.
So,
Interesting. I mean, that's that situational adjustment thing, right? Like, you look closely, and there's always these little exceptions for one thing or another. And oh, what a coincidence! It's always the things that line up with the institution.
that's right, yeah.
We can't affect efficiency. That's not how economics works.
What's going on with my cam? Oh my god.
Ooh, yeah, you've been kind of I've been seeing distortions that are
Yeah.
interesting.
This is the moment when IT reveals that Haya is actually an Asimar race character, and the celestial radiance is sort of.
I'm dealing with
Bursting
that
out.
in another campaign currently. I'm a fallen SMR in Casey's campaign, and my biggest goal to become a protector SMR, and it's not happening for any time soon, and I'm getting angry with it. So I think it's just like my camera started to get old.
No. Then it's cross campaign leakage, is what it is.
Yeah.
Every time your camera flashes, I'm just gonna assume that you've been swapped out by a Fae.
Okay. Maybe I'll
The
change.
first
my
Fae
cam.
didn't get the
Maybe
memo,
I'll change
so
my camera.
another Fae comes
You're-
to swap the Fae.
Swaps the swap.
You are
Yeah.
actually a changeling. You are actually like a Fae accurate changeling.
That's right.
Or that.
At some point, one of my friends, she critically failed at running through a forest chasing down someone getting kidnapped. and she faith planted in the middle of the Feywilds, or that plains version of the Feywilds. And so I was like, what if you got like, and she was like, what if my character was just missing and talking to the Fey people for a while, and like a changeling replaced me? I'm like, that works in lore, so let's do that. For like actual like English folktale.
It is that kind of thing. It's often those kinds of events in the deep woods, where you trip and you fall and suddenly now you're in a different world. Yeah, for sure. It's perfectly thematic.
You look up just long enough to see the fairy circle around you, and you go, "Oh shit!" And then poof.
I was thinking about fairies earlier. Yeah, hates fairies.
The day I find a fairy circle out in the woods, I'm gone. You'll never see me again.
It's
I'm
like
taking a chance.
The Icelandic, version of Balgir would be like trepidatious about fairies, avoiding large stones, which are like, what are they called? Erratic boulders left by the glaciers, like leaving them alone. It's like, oh, fairy stronghold. But Scots Balgir, just hates fairies, always getting in the way, always stealing your stuff, always drinking all your booze. Blame the fairies that live in the woods.
I'll have to remember that if we ever need a gambit that convinces Balkier of something, we just say the fairies did it.
Yeah, that's right. But maybe we haven't cottoned on to that yet. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
The dwarves did it. They ate the people, Balgir.
Dwarves eat people, and fairies eat booze, and that makes fairies way worse than dwarves.
I'll be right back.
All right. These are probably the worst store-bought cookies I have bought.
Biscuits. They're called biscuits.
No, actually, no. A cookie is a the thing is that that's a cookie.
It is. Oh, I'm confused.
It's because it's rolled from like I don't know. There's something about the fact that it has I think it's the chips. I think if it's a bake like that, it's definitely a baked good.
Is it the fact that it's not like an industrialized shape?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about biscuits is that they're part of
They're stamped.
a kind of industrial era kind of thing, whereas a cookie is more rustic. But then you have like I had those, I call them Maryland cookies, which are like that but an industrial shape, which is a weird turn in the biscuit ideology because it's a fusion, right, between both of them.
When are we gonna get your book, Biscuit Ideologies?
It would be called Explicit Biscuit.
Notes from prison, biscuit ideology.
I've always wanted to write a book on the different ways that people eat eggs called How Would You Like Your Eggs? Just for the title.
Wow. At this rate, guys, the anthropology advisees are doing great.
We're doing great. We're all
We'll
going
finish
off
our
the
degrees
rails.
in approximately 50 years.
We're gonna have some great
That
cookbooks
level
come out
of-
of the anthropology.
But you're totally true to anthropology, by the way, because if you walk the hallways, this is a legendary thing. If you walk the hallways of the American Anthropological Association, you might expect, when people are standing out in the hallways, they're going to be talking about Bourdieu or Apaduraï or the latest theories out of whatever. No, they're all talking about food all the time. That's you can count on it. They're talking about, there's a great Bangladeshi place in this city. We got to go check it out. It's like that's what it is.
I didn't know that anthropologists were just defunct food critics.
That's as good a description as any, for sure. That's
going to
3-word description.
Sometimes you can't write a book about the food of Greece, but sometimes you eat the food in Greece while playing chess.
This is the most appropriate moment I can ask this question, Thomas. About what's your relationship with ouzo? Do you like it? Did you like it before you went to Greece? Did you like it drinking it?
There's two things I'll say about that. The first time I ever had ouzo was a kind of preliminary trip that I took in the summer of 1992. I did language study in Athens, and then I went to the island of Crete because Michael Hertzfeld was actually there, and I was scouting out a place to do my research. It's when I first walked into Chania and knew it was where I wanted to be. But Michael was in Rethymnon, and I went to visit him with this friend I was traveling with, and it was the middle of the summer, and it was incredibly hot.
That's
unbelievably
the only
hot.
way to drink ouzo.
Well, that's the thing, and what you need to know about Greece, and I'm sure Turkey is quite similar, is that there aren't just restaurants. There are like 6 different categories of restaurants. There are restaurants that are just in the wintertime, and they're defined by the fact that they have a fireplace and they have all these certain foods that go along with that. And one of the categories of restaurants is the ouzeri, right? And the ouzeri is this summer hot weather. You sit outside under an umbrella at a table, and there are all these foods that are specifically the things to eat with the ouzo. Of course, you'd never have alcohol without food, right? So pickled octopus and all these other things, which now that I've seen my octopus teacher, I don't know if I can have octopus anymore. But, it was sitting out there, and I don't like anise. I don't like licorice. I've always hated it. But they bring out the bottle of ouzo. They bring out a pitcher of clear water. You've got these tall ice-filled glasses, and then the magic happens, right? Because you pour the ouzo over the ice, and then you halfway, and then you fill it up the rest of the way with water, and those 2 clear liquids together make this cloudy concoction. And it's super ice cold, and on that day, I can say it was delicious. It was great. But my little footnote to this is that in Crete, ouzo is not a very big thing, actually. They tend to drink raki tsikoudia, which is essentially ouzo before it's poured over the licorice anise kind of flavor. So they drink the unaged brandy, and they prefer that. So that's what I drank most of the time, and I loved it.
All right.
Sign me up.
This is great when I have it's great random knowledge to have when I go to Greece in a D&D
Important to know.
campaign.
That's right.
I have a bottle of ouzo on my shelf right now, but I'm pretty sure it's made in California. I use like a splash of it to make a Sazerac sometimes when I get lazy.
So back to the D&D.
I suppose.
Although I do want to say in German, cake is Kuchen, and
Which is just everything.
yeah. Well, no, it's Kuchen, and then cookie is Kekse. So I always remembered it as cookies were just cute sounding cakes. So that's how I remember how to say cookies in German. It's Kekse.
Nice. I like that.
Also, but yes, everything in German is Kuch. You have, or like K something ch. You have Kirchen, Kuchen, Kuche, which is different, Kirche, and I always got cherry and church mixed up because they're slightly different.
Right.
Yeah, Kirche and Kirche. German man. I don't know why they like their
mistake
cakes
in
so much.
Wisconsin. Nobody will be able to tell if you're looking for the church or the cherry.
That's true.
Or county,
Yep.
it's a real problem.
There's a place in Christmas, Michigan, because there's a place called Christmas, Michigan, that has Das Gift House, and they mean it as like, oh, it's a house that sells gifts. Like they put an English word with a German word, except the gift in German is poison, so they just named it Poison House. Just
So don't
come
lift
to our
that.
Poison House.
So just don't look
I didn't
that
know you
gift
had an
horse in the
estate.
mouth. House.
Literally, don't look that gift
So
house.
this is
up.
why Northern Europeans, specifically Germans, are not interested in a gift economy. I get it. I understand it now, finally.
Who was I talking to that's very common? Oh, Cal, Professor. Yeah, he was like, yeah, that's actually common in a lot of places that gift means poison.
Yes, it does
In
mean a
many
dangerous
languages.
thing. That's true.
Yeah. And then we talked about it. I was like, we're off track. I'm getting off track again. But we derailed 940 pretty hardcore with that gift poison discussion.
In Dungeons and Dragons news, I just now sleeved my homemade spell cards with
Nice.
my homemade font.
I'm so excited about this.
You
Look
should
at
make an
those.
Etsy store.
Yeah.
Make
So
an Etsy store.
but because they're on cards, I almost feel like when it comes time to cast a spell, I have to just draw them randomly.
Well, what you gotta do is you draw
They invite
7.
that.
You draw 7. You look at them and you go, okay, I'm not gonna mulligan. I'm gonna put a land, tap, Elvish Druid. Go.
Hey, Luke, if you're coming on the
Sorry.
28th, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you bring those, please? Jill is a very dedicated wizard player in 5e, and I'm sure she would love to see them, and I'd like to see them too.
Tap 2
Yeah.
blue, counterspell.
I only made the ones for my character right now, but we'll.
Yeah, just to see.
I'll turn
It's
3
expandable.
Gutter Snipe, and then somebody on turn 4 will kill my Gutter Snipe. because everybody hates Gutter's name. He's the worst.
Everyone doesn't like my mana gorger. I don't know why. It only gets up to 20 in a few turns with commander. Anyway, so you are sitting in this very nice, plush, kind of lounging couch. A lot lower than like American couches. It's like a lounging couch. It's like a chaise, whatever. And you kind of sit down. Johan kind of comes in with the guard captain. There's a guard picking up ball bearings, and we'll see if he gets under the couch. If
I'm not gonna let him. If he tries to go under the couch, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you missed one back there."
okay, you can try. We'll deal with that later. Johan comes in. He sees you, and he has a quite surprised look on his face. And the guard captain kind of serves coffee and tea to people. And he goes, "Oh, hey, I see." He kind of looks at the guards like, "Oh, I see you were perhaps dipping into and convince the cooks to give you a little something stronger." And the guard went, "That's what they had." And he's like, "Oh." And guard captain takes it out and pours it and serves it. And then he kind of goes, "So."
I'm going to offer some from my flask for the guard captain.
Oh, the guard captain goes like, "Oh, no, not on duty, not on duty." So Johan goes,
I cup out.
Intercepts it.
Oh no, I'm an ASMR again.
Yes, you are.
"Poor
I
on
don't
team."
want to buy a new webcam. I want to buy a new webcam. Please don't break.
What kind of webcam do you have? Do you just cheap Chinese
It's
webcam?
not cheap. It's Logitech actually.
Oh, okay.
Is
you
it
have a Logitech.
the C615 or whatever, the 1080p one that they sell for $50?
I think along those lines, something like that.
They have like
But
3 models that are all the same performance, but 2 of them look cooler than the other ones.
That's
this
because
doesn't look
Logitech
cool.
Logitech has such
Because-
a long line of products that they kind of are continually updating the outsides of them, but not the insides.
That's so
So-
true. It's been
so
true of
Logitech-
mice and everything for years.
Yeah. They have the same stuff for years, and the webcam 1080p is probably the same gut for 12 years at this point. They just keep selling it under different names because they have different outsides and stuff. Logitech is, and then you can go buy a trackball from Logitech for $50 because they still sell a trackball mice.
Naturally, as you do.
As you do. Well, trackballs are accessibility things as well,
Yeah.
ergonomics. But anyway, we're off track again.
Off trackball?
Track ball bearing. How's that for a before and after on Wheel of Fortune?
So Johan goes like, "Well, I'm so glad to see you safe, but I'm also very confused. We've been looking everywhere for you for the last hour or so. We were trying to find the rest of the group to inform them that they had comrades trapped underneath, but we couldn't find them, so we assumed that you were the cause of the break-in or something.
Oh no!
What is
No!
what is the guard captain filled me in. Why did you? Only 2 of you were allowed down there. It's quite suspicious that all 6 of you or all 5 of you would
Well,
manage to
Johan,
get down there.
Johan, you know that the reason we were successful with the prince is because we are a resourceful group, extraordinarily resourceful. And our resources can be brought to bear in any situation, including one where we're not sure if we can trust the wizard we go into a library with.
Well, I would have assumed that you would have vetted the companions that you had taken down into the library. Why would you bring down someone that you did not trust into our great halls of the library?
Johan, never trust no one. But your closest friends, like we are.
I like that you're still talking to your webcam, but you're
Yes.
sideways.
Yeah.
There was a dramatic quality to that. It was like a filmic kind of moment. I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. This will be hard. This will be hard to do.
All right, Ati, take it back to 1.
So I was like, I can understand that, but at the same time, we allowed him into our library, into our great auspicious collections, under the assumption that you had vetted him and worked with him to get the prince back. The fact that you allowed someone that you hadn't properly vetted into, our good graces is quite troubling. To be fair, and
It
We-
was
We
It was
vetted
done.
him to the degree that this particular group could maintain.
And
Hence
let's
the
be
need for
honest
this
here.
group.
It seems increasingly clear that not only were we fooled, and the Sultanate, all due respect, fooled, but the order itself was duped, right? So if groups as powerful as the order and the Sultanate could be duped under these circumstances, then why would you hoist us on the petard of that failure? We did everything we could, and frankly, the guy we did take down there was an idiot. I think that's in fact what saved him. He was such an idiot that it was almost impossible to discover that he was the small little weak chink that allowed for the one bad actor to accomplish this terrible calamity.
And did you vet us? Because last I recalled, you gave us the task the moment we met you. What are you talking about vetting when the palace can't even do the basic level of work? You expect 6 adventurers to do what the palace can't do?
But at the same time, your vetting process was returning the prince to us whole and hale with very little negotiation of the pricing that we set up.
So your vetting process
as-
was
as-
us returning the prince with the guy who we brought in. So really, he was vetted by you. So you messed up, not us.
Well, we were
Aren't you
we understood that when you had this fellow you brought to the library, that you had worked with him previously, but now you're saying that he is a part of the order.
Johann,
If we had known that he was part of the order, we wouldn't have let him part of this library. The order
I
is
don't
not
think
welcome
nobody
within these
mentioned. Nobody mentioned order.
walls. Jarl did.
And we did,
Well, I
we
did
did
say-
actually tell him that we was part of the order when we were in the bar. So Johann should know.
No.
Yeah,
you
we
didn't
told him
tell
that it was part
it
of
was-
the order who helped us secure the prince. So you should let
I
the
think
order
that's what I
in.
No.
recall too.
Yeah.
No, you did not. You said
Wasn't
they
he
were a
dressed as that?
group to. So, from what I remember, you told Johann, this guy is part of a group that helped us. We would like to return the favor. You specifically did not say he was part of the order.
I recall
because the order had
specifically
such a bad
saying.
representation.
I
Yeah,
recall
if you
specifically
said
trying
that-
to rehabilitate the order's image as Louvier at the table with Johann. Like, that was something I absolutely recall doing. So if he went along with it, that's cool.
Remember that. at
Me
all.
neither.
Look,
Okay,
guys,
well, it
either
doesn't
way.
really matter.
why are we
No,
sitting here with
it does
empty
ma-
cups? Why are we sitting here with empty cups arguing about who did what? How many people were allowed in the library? So when we should be focusing on finding that wizard bastard who's stolen your rock or whatever and getting it back.
Johann goes, Are you saying that the tablet has been stolen? See, this is why we didn't want the order.
Yes, they're gonna find out eventually, right?
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Listen, whoever organized this whole thing is laughing. They're laughing at you, Johann. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at anyone who is wasting time with these kinds of tiny little points of division instead of going after them. And we are your best hope in that regard. We're the only people who see the situation clearly and have any evidence that points in the right direction.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
But you have to
I'm going to
understand.
toast with my tea and pour a little extra for you and me, Balgarrett.
I have to admit how suspicious this whole situation is. Here we have, 3 people allowed into the library. It turns out that there are 5 people in the library, along with this person who I did not know was the order that you let in, because you hid that fact from us, as well as the tablet is now stolen in your presence.
Don't
And-
keep messing ya. All right.
He's just like, you have to understand our position here. This is quite quite a suspicious understanding, and
So clearly, the
I,
smartest thing for you to do is to just not get any information from us, treat us like crap, and not try to work together to get to the bottom of it. Clearly, that's the smart move.
no,
There's no question about it.
That's
no, I said that you have to understand how suspicious this is.
Yes.
Not discounting the fact that you had nothing to do with it, but you have to understand our position here. And the captain kind of goes like, yeah,
Yeah, but Johan,
it
you're a
is
smart guy. You can
suspicious.
present to the people above you what the situation really is. We brought you back your prince. That's the bottom line here. We have shown ourselves to be faithful workers for this group. We got overcome. The whole palace got overcome with a gigantic explosion. Let's keep our eye on the ball here.
Why, if we had the ability to get out of the library, why the hell would we come right to you if we had anything to do with it? I'm just saying, it doesn't make any sense.
Well,
We're coming to you with information.
Perhaps it is a ruse to do something so obvious because you understand that you will be chased down in a matter to retrieve the tablet.
If we had the cunning to sneak 2 additional people into your heavily controlled library, would we not have the ability to exercise just such cunning to retrieve the tablet that we all want to recover for our and your having been slighted over it?
And more importantly, Johan, I think I have a key information that I will only share with the Sultan under right circumstances about the tablet. You have to trust in us. We did not do this. We didn't plan to do this. I attempted to stop it, but I couldn't. And if you can get us to the proper... Oh, I hate my video. I'm gonna turn off my video. If you can get us to the proper people, we will talk about this in detail. But I do not enjoy this treatment. I'm okay to roll for intimidation right now.
I don't know if you're really intimidating. You're just
Or just
you said like,
persuasion.
ooh, I have a piece of information, and Johan's like, well, perhaps it would avail some of my trepidations if you were to be very open about what you have, information-wise, the situation, who was with you, what
We have
happened during the
been...
blast,
syphilis.
and the guard captain kind of pauses for a
machine.
second and hands him the rubbing of the tablet, and Johan goes, okay. I see this is a rubbing of the tablet. Now, please, if you could explain to me everything that happened, so it would really help the trust in this situation.
I'd like to jump onto what Haya just said and try to persuade him that we can have this conversation, but it shouldn't be with a lot of random ears around. That it should be with the higher ups, with those who can be most trusted to be looking after the Sultan's interests here. This is delicate and difficult, and we'd like to help. That's why we came back, but we're not just going to lay everything onto the table right here under these circumstances.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Johan goes, well, Captain, if you could stay, kind of motions to the guards to kind of to leave. You get lucky. The guard has picked up your ball bearings and has handed them back to you in the bag and left.
Oh, how kind of him. I thought he'd just take them with him. I'll put them back in my pocket.
Oh, no, like, I rolled to see if he might actually, like, be looking a little bit more, but he rolled low, so he did not. So, he kind of motions the 3 guards out, and you just have the captain and Johan, and he goes, well, this is the as you can tell by our quite nice table and the beautiful surroundings, this is a quite um, secure spot that sometimes the Sultanate does come to sojourn here, as well as debate tactics and trade routes. So this is a quite secure area. If you wish to have a secure area, and there shall not be any prying signs. Unless you
All
wish
right.
to go to another place, I could arrange perhaps we could go to the courtyard, or the Sultan's courtyard, not the courtyard outside, but
Or the Uzuri.
So I'm going to gesture to Verify. You know, I think this is the moment we gotta lay it out.
And then are you implying that Verfa start talking?
I guess to gesture to somebody else, because like at this point it's a little bit too subtle for Jarl to take on. I think he was just trying to clear the decks.
I feel like Jarl's like, all right, and he kind of leans back and pulls his arm, and then it's like, like he's just kind of like gesturing ahead, like, okay.
Somebody who actually could put two words together and not just bluster. Anyone?
Yeah. So, I think Fairfa would start. He would start trying to recount it, but sort of get like bogged down in like all of the technical details. He might like produce a piece of paper and start scribbling on it. You know.
You see, I was up here on the second
Lud
floor.
has to step in.
Yeah, and so somebody
point.
else probably has to step in because he's using some overly specific.
And then I changed the mortar.
Yes.
I'm just enjoying the panic the party has. So Johan, here's the deal. Want us to look for the prince, right? And we followed the tracks and we found these three people.
Oh, so you're going all the way back to the order.
Mhm.
Meeting the order.
I think that is the deal we are looking after, going after.
Okay.
That they were super powerful.
They were quite powerful. What they wanted was a copy of the tablet in exchange of prints.
Well, they said they wanted access to the library. At the time, the tablet information came a little later, but before we got there. Yeah.
So we said, well, we have access to library if we can succeed in our mission. So we would be able to take them with us. And we took this Herald guy. But the problem is that I'm gonna tell everything that is true, by the way. With this Herald guy made a deal with someone else without telling neither the order or us. And a third party that was not us or the order was involved in the capturing of the tablet. So, or like stealing of the tablet.
Okay.
So
if you
we do not have.
Oh no, go ahead. Go on.
So, and we have something that might come handful, and this Herald guy who is downstairs right now has little knowledge about who this person is.
Interesting. So this mysterious cloaked man has has. Sorry, I just read cross landscape maneuver.
I think to play Fairfa, I'm gonna have to collect like a whole notebook of this kind of like jargony. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we had Johan goes, okay, well, so the cloakman has the original form of tablet, and this rubbing is accurate, correct in every manner.
The rubbing you have is accurate. The rubbing the guy has down there is inaccurate. And if you allow him to take it with him, the order will think that they have the correct rubbing when they don't. So it's in your interest and in our interest that they continue to get the rubbing that they have in the pack if you intentionally look past it.
Is there a
Yet
reason
another way
why
in
you...
in
You
which we
four-
demonstrate our loyalty to the Sultan and his interests.
Is there a reason? I understand that that the order is quite brash in its approach. But is there a reason why you are giving them a forged or a changed rubbing?
Well, yeah, so that they're satisfied with what they have, and we can take the real rubbing up to you and say, hey, they have one of these, but forged.
That way, the decision is ultimately in your hands as to whether the order ever has the correct interpretation of the tablet.
But if they wanted an interpretation of the tablet, they had it in their hands. They did not need to steal the tablet, which is what leads us to believe that this is a group that isn't the order.
The third group.
And Harold said as much anyway. It was some other party that hired him to do this trick.
And I understand. Well,
Look, we got the prince back. We care about this place. Trishaya. So we have to be the ones to get this tablet back. Not just for us, for the Sultan, for all things. And if you believe in us and give us complete investigative autonomy, then we can get it done. I think that went pretty well. Balgair will say it loud. Oh, did I say that out loud?
I like that. That sounds great to me. Cheers. A little more.
This is why the guards don't drink on the job, Balkan.
Johan kind of looks at me and goes like, I suppose I can understand that. Listen, you folks have done us a great service to the Sultanate by returning the prince to us to hand over this rubbing at such a time of a great stolen. It helps us, replace what has been lost in some way. But I believe that we will pursue this matter in a less. I'm looking at my cat. We will pursue this in a less formalized manner. We do have what was written on the tablet, and while it's a shame that it has been stolen, we do. At this point, we are more concerned about rehabilitating and rebuilding the library after the explosion than hiring people to find the tablet. So.
So, what's this tablet about? Why is it so important?
It's from what I understand. From what I understand, the tablet is quite old. It is one of the oldest. It was one of the oldest pieces of history in our archives. It is. We don't know quite the origin of it. We believe that it's from this land, but it could be from other lands. We understood that it could. That the script was ancient. None of our scholars could recognize it as an Elvish-esque script, but we do not know anyone who's on understanding of ancient Elvish. But it really is a piece of cultural property in that it is shows us that someone has lived here in the past, but it doesn't really hold any significance in the modern day. It is an artifact, not a record per se.
So, ever curious and still in question asking mode, Verfa will blurt out, "None of that bothers you?"
That.
Then he'll slink back in the couch and take a sip of tea.
Enemy of the state at large. And
I'll
you're sitting
offer to
there-
Verfa at this point. Verfa?
Hold out the cup.
I'm just not quite sure at what what resources we could, approve of and move at this juncture with the current um, disaster at hand.
You don't want to trace who did this kind of damage to your city. You don't want to take the relatively small investment in a group of proven adventurers to get to the bottom of it, so that you could then down the road make your ultimate strategic and tactical decisions to have the right advantage over whatever the enemy of this kingdom is. Are you sure that's the decision? Are you sure that isn't a decision that's above your pay grade, Johan?
How are you gonna sleep at night knowing that these guys can just blip in and blip out of anywhere whenever they want?
Blow up
Well,
a good portion of your palace grounds to boot.
It would, while
Your
we are
good collection.
well, we are conscious of the threats to our palace. If I understand what you have said correctly, and perhaps I will, discuss this with our advisors and to the Sultanate. But from what you say, the explosion was specifically for this tablet, and with the tablet no longer in the palace grounds, there is no reason for another attack, or no reason for another attack on our city. And if the tablet is just, an artifact, something to be sold on the black market, but does it matter to us? If does it?
Imagine the political capital you could gain preventing this for another city.
Yeah, what's stopping a bard from going to the next town over and saying, "Did you hear about the guys who blew up the Sultanate?" And then going to the next town over and say, "Do you hear about the guys who blew up the Sultanate?" And then going to the next kingdom over and saying, "Did you hear about the guys who blew up the Sultanate?" And then you have an army at your door.
Nothing about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Doesn't set a very good example.
Oh.
Being that weak invites outside attacks, I would think.
On the contrary, it could be seen as strength through the unmovingness of the Sultan.
You almost said inability of the Sultanate. You're going to call that a strength?
That was a DM mistake. That's not a Johan mistake. Where the Sultanate will send out and find who is responsible for the explosion, but it is not a threat to distract ourselves with. We do still have the city, the caliphate to the south of us that we are, constantly in tensions with, and we must focus our attention south, as well as to the east. If the Principality of Jamal do not want to continue trading with us,
have you considered that the caliphate
more issues than a tablet?
Have you considered that the caliphate is perhaps the people who blew a bomb up on your sultanate?
Oh, of course.
And that doesn't bother you at all. Your enemy blowing up a bomb in your capital city doesn't bother you at all.
Oh, well, there will be retaliation if it is found that they are the cause of it.
Well, it sounds like there won't be retaliation.
That is not your concern.
Because you're not finding anything out.
You are, to pardon perhaps my,
Johan,
entitlement.
I don't mean to step in here except to just get that coffee pot and fill my cup up. If you don't want to coax us into being like mad adventurers saving the kingdom, then if you don't mind me asking, then why are you keeping us? We committed a crime. What's going on? Because there's a lovely old woman down in the harbour pub, a cackling witch, who I'm going to pay a gold coin to tell me a tale. And she goes home awfully early in the evening because she's so old.
Well, you seem quite intent upon helping us find this tablet.
It's
more
bizarre,
than willing
right?
to dismiss you.
It's bizarre. We'd be so interested in something that could, spell the end of the world and try to get to the bottom. You're right. It's certainly there's no explanation for it. Call it a mad whim on our part.
You gotta see Johan just kind of like sigh, and he goes, "Well, Sir Jarl, if you had perhaps stated that you believe the tablet could lead to world destruction, we might be more interested in retrieving the tablet. However, all you have done is given me a rubbing." And
why else would somebody be that interested into it, to go to that trouble to get something you couldn't translate that is extremely ancient and under gigantic protections. I'm just connecting dots here for you. That's all I'm doing.
We had thought that
roll me deception, Jarl, because you do know what's on the tablet.
That's true.
so-
That's true.
What are you saying, Ren? Sorry.
I was saying we had thought that the people who were guarding the tablet, most of all the captain of the guard, would be
21.
apprised of the information as to what was on the tablet, or perhaps could be on the tablet.
Oh, we do not know how to. We do not have translators, so we would not know what was on the tablet.
Well, our mistake.
Johan believes you.
Are you telling me that there are no wizards in this city?
Wizards are not, although we have had several requests from the Order to confiscate the tablet. It is one of the main reasons why the Order is not allowed into our libraries or on our ground. That vile little man Xavier is a very hard man to deal with. So perhaps the Order could have translated for us if they were not so crass. However, if you do believe this tablet is a world-ending prophecy or spell, perhaps you could discuss this with the Order, or perhaps I could discuss this with the Sultanate to perhaps fund a little adventure for you. But you are just adventurers. You are not the world-saving people you wish to make a name for yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you get there by trying and doing it.
And if you'd
It
like,
just
yeah,
does
we
not
can
happen.
go take this information to the Order if you'd like, your enemies, and tell them how poor your we can tell you them everything that happened, and we can tell them everything about the tablet that we barely know all that much about, but enough to get them interested, and then they will go out and they will, and I'm sure, expend all their resources trying to get it, and perhaps then at that point they'll use it against you. I mean, who knows? It just sounds like not the thing you want to have in your enemies' hands. For us, you to suggest we take this to the Order, I mean, that seems like a breach of security on your part.
I'm simply stating that due to us not knowing what is on the tablet and only necessarily taking your word that it could be this world-ending prophecy or whatever it is, that I could take this very little information to the Sultanate and say, could you trust 5 adventurers who, did a good deed but have not proven themselves to fight dragons or beasts of eldritch proportions? Can
You
they
want me
go
to
find
tell
the
'em?
tablet?
Can I?
tell them what's what.
I'm going to ask
I'm just picking up on
the
here.
Johan and the captain. Could I just have a moment to confer with my colleagues here?
Of course. I will take a moment to check up on the proceedings with the rebel cleric. He, picks himself up and walks out. And
So
the
I'm
guard
going to say,
captain
so here's the thing. If we want full sponsorship here, it might be simply a matter of proving to them that this thing really is that dangerous. It boggles my mind that they don't see it just from the situation as it stands. But we could have them produce the rubbing, and I could go through it with them and point out all the things that I was able to translate, and have that be the proof and maybe get us a higher bit of coin. What we have right now is, I think, a small sponsorship. That's what I was questioning, right? I wasn't going to be saying all this unless they, So
you're probably saying it in a hushed tone because there is no actual doors. So.
Right. So do we take the small sponsorship we're offered, or do we present a little more proof to them to raise the stakes so we get a bigger
So,
package?
here's my problem. They don't want to solve this. And I'm sure, as adventurers, we can go find out other stuff. I say, F these guys. We have the tablet. We just leave this palace because we shared every information with them. And if they try to keep us in, then we try to maybe rethink about cooperating with them. But under these circumstances...
Or they don't want us finding information because they already know something that they're not telling us about.
Possibly. In which case, in both cases, we just accept the small offer we've been given.
Right.
We say, you're right, we may be in over our heads, but with your permission, we're going to try, And since we're proven faithful, we will send you regular updates.
I'm just irritated by their incompetence. I mean, I told them that their issue with security was that people were coming in with fake uniforms and getting into the palace, and then I just walk in with a fake uniform and get into the palace after he told me that they rebuffed security. They clearly did nothing. These guys are quacks, and I just can't stand it.
Can we trust these guys with getting this tablet back if you say it will truly end the world?
Well, I guess if we just take the small sponsorship, which is, then we'll feel less beholden to put the fate of the world in their hands if we get to that point, right?
Right.
Maybe we take it to the order.
Maybe we do, but I
Or
don't
if I
like
would do
them
it for
very
free.
much. We could just...
I lost enough to one cataclysm. I don't want to lose that much again. Not so soon after I've made new friends.
Aye.
Aww.
All right, so we'll take the small sponsorship. We'll basically make noises to get out of their hair and let them get on with their business, right? Are we agreed?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
For better or for worse.
Okay, DM.
Okay.
I'll wave them over.
All right. So Johan and the captain kind of stays out because he's kind of bored. He's just like, I would like to stand guard because that's what I do. I am a guard captain.
And
So
I'll just say we graciously accept your offer of limited sponsorship, and we are happy to venture out into the world and pursue what leads we can. We shall endeavor to update you as regularly as we can, and we appreciate your time.
so okay, so you are not accepting sponsorship, and you're just gonna go somewhere else to find the tablet.
Well, we thought you might want to underwrite our operation a little bit in return for the updates we could provide you. Otherwise, we just won't send updates, and we'll get to the bottom of this on our own.
And we'll decide what to do with the tablet in the end, too.
Perhaps
And who gets it?
And who
Perhaps
doesn't
one of
get
your
it?
enemies. Perhaps one of your friends.
Perhaps we may undersign a few purchases of horses.
I want plate armor.
Because perhaps we could outfit you a little bit and send you on your way for success, but a monthly allowance is perhaps not in the cards at this moment.
We'll take the upfront investment. That seems fair. Let's say, how much
We'll
is plate
see
armor?
what it's worth to you when we bring the tablet back.
1,500.
Okay,
That's a lot of ale.
that's a lot of ale.
Sorry.
Everything in ale. It's better than Electrum.
Like
But,
you're asking for a full plate, right?
Yeah, full plate, but from their own armories. That doesn't cost them 1,500 gold. It's just something they have lying around,
I
right?
agree.
So, horses, plate armor for me. Any other initial upfront investments that we need, group?
I'd like a crossbow.
Crossbow makes sense.
So Johan kind of hands you off to the guard captain.
Okay.
You will get your plate mail. It will look like this guy who's wearing it, our captain. So it's kind of like not, full plate in the European style, but plate in like the Persian sort of style where it's stitched together with tarlatan fabric to get. So it's like it doesn't look like full plate, but it is full plate, but
Okay.
it looks like Persian.
That
'Cause it's
sounds
got
good.
that flavor.
Happy to have that.
Do I get a crossbow?
Yes, you can. Yes, you
Sweet.
can.
I'm gonna.
And they will supply you with several horses. They're going to be kind of like hired horses, so they're not going to be the best. They're not going to be like war horses, but they're going to just be like,
That's a fine steed.
yeah,
Can I
just,
pass requisition?
standard ride.
Can I pass
What?
can I perhaps requisition from them a portable ram? Just to see if they'll give it to me.
Portable ram.
A portable battering ram. It's in the player's handbook as an item that you can take.
They kind of look at you and be like, I don't believe, except for our castle and probably the Caliphate's castle, there is no castle for which you would siege in this
Oh, a portable
on
battering ram
feet.
isn't for castle sieges, it's for breaking down regular doors.
Oh right, yeah.
Now,
talking
if
about,
you'd
like,
like
the
to
thing
give me
that
a
the
whole
police
siege
have?
weapon, I'd be so down. Please, give me your siege weapons.
Is this the thing like what the police have where they can each hold it from either side and just like pound down a door? I love it. That'd be great.
Balger will clear his throat and put down his little cup on the table and say, I require only one thing to pursue our investigations. I need mastery over this man. And I will take my brooch up and turn it around.
That he should be
I
released
love it.
into your
Into
care,
your custody,
quote, unquote. Yeah, your
So
custody.
the captain guards goes,
He dwells in your dungeons, does he not?
Captain kind of like, while I am uncaring for what happens to our prisoners, the debtor, such as the one that you have, after their stay here and or during their stay here, it is not my
Purview?
jurisdiction to release anyone. It is of the Caliphate, or in most cases,
Then give me 20 minutes with him.
the Trade Commission. But I believe the man that you have is a debtor, or has killed someone, or something.
How
He's
about
a
his name?
debtor. You said he is a debtor. And I will have you pay his debt. In my name.
Who holds Balgair's coins?
I do.
What is his debt?
He has money. If you're asking that.
Let me figure out his debt.
I love this. This is awesome.
Man, I just
Let me
want a
get
portable
out
battering ram.
I need somebody to hold my blade when I transform. I can't be jumping on every time.
Are you just gonna
got-
turn into a bear and smack him?
Oh, no. I have much longer, more emotionally fraught solutions.
Alright, there you go.
Boa
Get
constrictor.
some use out of the portable battering ram right off the bat to knock his.
I believe his current debt to the Sultanate with interest is over 900 gold.
Ooh.
Can I set up some kind of payment plan?
Well, that is currently his wife is currently paying off his debt.
How about this? I'm just going to suggest to Belger. Why don't you have them promise to send word to you when his release is imminent?
Ooh.
I'm back. I clicked something. I didn't mean to.
Right? They could promise to send word to you when his release is imminent.
No.
What about this, Sir Johan?
Decided that this shall not be an instant payoff. Therefore I ask but one small favour. Surely you can give it to me. If you will not give me his absolute servitude, nor will you give me 20 minutes alone with him,
Give him this
nor
book.
will you let me pay off his debt, then I ask but one thing, a favour. I ask only for the name of his wife.
This is getting dark.
The guard captain kind of looks at the rest of the party like, it is perhaps not my best judgment to give you her name.
Come on, I'm not gonna. It's just to know, just to threaten him. That's a wee thing. I've already, just a wee thing.
Captain, what about we pay 20 golds for 20 minutes and we don't kill him?
Do you mean to bribe me?
Oh, no.
Because that's, I believe that is the definition of bribing a public
Well,
official.
I was rather thinking about paying the Sultanate for 20 golds for 20 minutes.
And make a
not
contribution
you.
toward his debt in return for 20 minutes with it.
It's a favour. We're doing him a favour.
And no death involved.
Look.
That's-
I don't mean to bring you too much into it, but
I'm gonna roll for persuasion.
you want to know what that was? He insulted my blade, which very important, valuable thing to me. And I've
I mean,
had
it's
a
not
long
the best fashion choice, but it is, it's a nice color.
Well, now I know. Now I know you're both on the same site.
While we're off the rails a little bit,
I rolled
it
22.
is 4:30.
Yes.
I have to run.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Sorry,
Luke.
everybody. I
We'll see you
look
next
forward to seeing where this goes.
I just want
Uh,
portable
I
RAM.
rolled 22 for 20 gold for 20 minutes to Sultanate. Is
You
it a
rolled a
crit
nat
fail?
20.
Roll it,
Ah,
nat 20.
Oh my lord. He just kind of looks at you like just straight face, like I'm sorry, I can't do that. Perhaps I may give you a staff or something that helps you in some way or shape form.
I didn't need your help, pal. Listen, I didn't need your help. Precisians looking after themselves. No, I didn't need your help with some staff. That's it.
we do need your help to an extent. But
Balgir will flip his tea saucer and walk around the potted palm plants.
Rage quit for Balgir.
Yeah.
It's strange. You would think the barbarian would be the one to rage quit. Really. But
unfortunately, our barbarian is quite charismatic. So
that's right.
So how are we feeling about that portable battering ram?
Yeah.
I mean, why do you want a portable battering ram?
Why not? I have a chance to pick up some random shit from the equipment table. I want the random shit that I would never take in any other circumstance, but I have Jarl and Haya in the party, which means I can give them the portable battering ram and they can go bust down some doors. I have 8 strength. I can't use it, but they sure can. You never know.
Unfortunately, they do not have any battering rams currently. They are currently using them in some fashion to clear the rubble.
All right, fair enough. Let's get off the DM's case, and we'll.
This is going to be your. I had a character in Shadowrun who was a drone rigger, and he was so intent on getting a helicopter. Every single time we were in a skyscraper, I was like, "Is there a helicopter at the top?" They're like, no." And then we did a Nakatomi Plaza game for Christmas. And I was like, I'm getting the helicopter at the top of this tower. And that's when I got my helicopter. I was happy.
Nice. So
Sorry.
shall we? Maybe it's a good time to pause it if we say we've done the deal with them, right? They've given us sort of basic equipment as we ask, and then they let us go, and we're ready to venture forth.
That's right. But what my intention when we get out of here now is based on the insider trading thing that we've learned from your boy. I'm gonna go and put all of my 40 gold down on. I'm gonna go and seek some kind of merchant, somebody I can make a good profit off of, who's going east to the Principality, and hopefully give my money to him, see what happens, shake the dice, Well, it could be he could be a dodger. He might bring in the gold,
So
It's
you're investing in Doge gold. Is that what you're doing?
What's the Italian Doge?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I used to know that. What's Italian for dog?
Well, no, I mean, as in the Doge, as in the guys in charge.
Oh yeah, back in the Merchants of Venice. The yeah.
Do you think Paul Gear can get a Doge hat? The little hat with a little weird slope on it that the Doge wears?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They owned Crete for much of its history, by the way. Venice owned Crete. Well, that was a lot of fun. Strange, but fun.
They're really incompetent. These guards are just hilarious.
It's just.
I love that they're just using battering rams to clear rubble. What are they doing out there? Fucking golfing
it's possible,
with them?
maybe they're breaking these things, and I have to
Breaking
tell
up
you
rocks.
guys, Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Is it in here?
There's the Sultanate, the place where they clear
So-
rubble with battering rams.
So the last thing I'll say is the palace that you guys have been seeing, that you guys are at, is this palace. It is the Summer Palace, built by, it's a real life palace that's abandoned. It was built by Saddam Hussein on the grounds of the original Babylon palace. And that's, so that's the palace you've been in, is this abandoned palace that he rebuilt in the 90s. And destroyed a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But, a lot of, because he tried to rebuild the palace at Babylon in his image to show people like, oh, I've been here since the Babylonians. Kind of do that shady archaeology sort of propaganda machine. Didn't work.
Never underestimate the narcissism of demagogues, I guess.
Yeah, but it was just such a cool. It's like the picture when you're like going to the Cheshire capital is, or Zila. I have to go there myself. As I click something. This picture is an overview. You can see the ruins, and then you see that summer view picture. So it's just
Oh,
a
wow.
fun fact.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
I also, all the pictures that I have are from real life Persian palaces, because I wanted that aesthetic. Because I really like that aesthetic. It's so pretty. Such a pretty aesthetic. As well as history and such. But anyway, it is 4:40. Do we have anything that we'd like to talk about academically? Overview? Thinking about things.
I appreciated Matthew's way of sort of shaking things up, when
yeah.
things started to grind. It's a quite a great talent you have, Matthew, for that around the table. It's quite nice to have that in the mix.
That's the chaos, that's the productive chaos. But I liked no, this was a good well, it was NPC focused, wasn't it? Based upon the Sultan's underling, right? And establishing well, the thing about these kinds of things is that there's a lot of passive world building going on, I feel, which is important to notice. Like when Dungeon Masters stick to these small, well, not small, but this sort of interaction-based kind of thing back and forth, between an NPC. There's a lot of there's a lot of opportunity to passively build the world, build the relationships between him and the Sultan. It doesn't sound like the Sultan really likes to talk to him, that he only really wants to hear the important news, and that this guy doesn't have really a lot of sway. That he's in some way, like Ren alluded to, an incompetency, or just that caught within a checkered political game, vying for institutional power that we don't know anything about. Hard to really read people's expressions with their veiled chainmail. What are they hiding? And remembering always that these Trishians, we're outsiders to them as well, and that they have their customs, taking off their shoes, going between places, but also the soberest lack of anything but tea and coffee. These cultural differences and things all come into the encounter, which is really strong in my mind.
I really liked when I was like, did you specify what kind of drink you wanted? Because I had the feeling that they would serve you like tea and very strong coffee, because that would be something that you would serve to dignitaries at a palace instead of ale. Like here's the finest tea in the land, sort of thing, instead of ale. At least that's how I imagined it. And I had an idea for how the Sultan acted. And that's kind of how, like, oh, you're not going to be able to talk to the Sultan because he's just kind of this, like, authoritative, but also kind of just not present person. Like, he listens to his advisors, and they said, hey, this explosion happened, a tablet got stolen. Oh, I don't really care about that. Whatever. Who cares? Like, he's kind of like an aloof, sort of, like, he lets his advisors run the country pretty much. That's kind of how I view the Sultan. So I think it kind of came across in you don't need to talk to the Sultan. He's not going to do you anything. You don't need to talk to him.
The interesting thing is that, like, I was like, okay, well, I need to take this in and kind of consider how my character would digest this information. Louviere's take was, there's no way this guy is that incompetent, so he has to be deadly ill. And so Louviere was playing this entire, gambit, thinking the reason they won't let us see the Sultan is because the Sultan is dying. And that is the reason that he must not be doing this, because any competent leader would care, and he can't be that incompetent, which is, I imagine, when you have a character that is been in an institutional context where competency is the most important thing, it's really hard to escape that when you evaluate other locations.
Also, they could be straight up lying to us because none of us did a insight check. I think that's one of the things that we have not done much in this campaign, to do insight checks.
Sure.
Aussie doesn't believe anyone.
Like, I automatically don't believe anyone, but that's something that we might wanna look into in the future and like utilize a bit more, because people do lie. It doesn't matter if they're like the executives in the palace or not.
Which among us, in role-playing terms, are the characters that would be likely to make that move? I tend to think of Lud for that. Not so much Jarl. I mean, maybe, but I think in structural terms. Like, wait, what would you get out of this? What would this? I think in those kind of tactical terms. But maybe Lud, maybe Haya. I don't know. Maybe Balgar. How would your character? Yeah. I think you would be looking, wouldn't you? But kind of looking for that canny angle on someone, like, wait, is this somebody I'd like to have a drink with or not, kind of thing.
I have a +3 in insight, so yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, and I have an ability that will give me advantage on insight checks when I perform it. And so, the thing is that when a character makes a judgment, oh, well, this person's lying to me, that's a pretty big judgment call, I feel like. And so like I said, my character's first stance is this person competent? If yes, perhaps they're lying to me. If no, well, then they're just stupid. And that was the take with these guards is, well, these guys are stupid. I don't need to check whether or not they could fool me because they're too dumb.
I would say constructively, that obviously, the commitment to keep the Sultan aloof is one that I respect. Although our group's aspiration to return to the palace and have that confrontation, you can see how that becomes a shutting down of our, I guess, agency pathways.
But at the same time, I made sure you could talk to someone.
No, of course,
That's kind of one of the things.
But this is the thing, is that, it never ends, really. There's always somebody else we want to talk to, because when you stick with, and I do the same thing, a strong mold of what an NPC can and can't say, doesn't know, right? Then you almost have the obligation to allow us to defer to someone else. So if we're meeting the middleman in the lobby and we can't go up to see the big man, then I would say bring in what we need is not necessarily an exit, but an aside. So if we can't go up, go down. Maybe there's peasants, doing chores in the lobby or something, or there's some other angle. Because the thing is, we want narrative movement. And whilst, there is a narrative movement in discovering that the Sultan is a powerful figure we can access, that denies us the actual ability to move. So what we need is our ability to go, in another direction. And it's not necessarily something like that I missed in the session. It's just because we have the opportunity now to I guess, have a critical conversation. That's something that I would say.
And I definitely agree with that. I kind of went a very rational way of thinking about it. Is if you go into a palace, you're not really expected, and there's guards guarding the Sultanate. Of course, the guard captain is gonna be like, "Who are you? What do you want? We're gonna search you. We're gonna make sure that you're not a threat." And then if you go, "Well, I was in the library," and then you go, "Okay, well, you're in the library. Okay, we need to debrief you. We need to figure out what you know. Like, tell me everything you know." It's like, "Oh, you don't want to talk to us? Okay, well, we're gonna get someone who you will talk to. We'll go get Johan." Like, kind of like a rational sort of set, because I feel like it gives a little bit more realism to it. Because just barging in and wanting to talk to the king, not gonna happen because there's
Right.
Well, I
guards
mean,
and advisors. So like having that aside of being like this is who you can talk to, and that it also like later down the line, maybe you will get to talk to the Sultan.
I like that, Morgan. And I came away with it with a feeling like Captain of the Guard is kind of on his game. I mean, it's somebody who's on their game. They kind of, they know what's what. They know what the right procedures are, But Johan, like was saying before, is this person who, for one reason or another, whether it's the illness of the Sultan or the Peter Principle or whatever, is maybe just in a little over his head, Maybe he would be the peacetime vizier, but not the wartime vizier.
Yeah.
He's not the one you want when things start to go sideways.
And I can imagine in this world there's not a lot of like after things settle down during the Shattering, there's not a lot of war going on. A lot of it is just rebuilding, restructuring, solidifying borders if they got a little. That's why they don't like the Caliphate, because they're they have border disputes. But resetting up trade routes, reestablishing all this stuff. So I can imagine that maybe they haven't figured out if they need a war advisor yet. Maybe they just have like a general who's on the border doing border skirmishes. And the fact that they just didn't care about the tablet in a way kind of signals that like, well, it's just an artifact to us. Like, yeah, it's been here a long time, and it shows that there was people here, ancient elves here. It doesn't really matter to us. It's just
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
rock.
it's an interesting approach to world building, because I think, players in a kind of post-apocalyptic, post-cataclysmic kind of environment are very ready to ascribe a lot of significance to that and to want to be the kind of archaeologists or whatever, the people who are by definition interested in getting to the bottom of all that. I like the idea of building a world on the principle that a lot of the people who are around, even the rulers, they're just trying to get through tomorrow. They're just trying to solve tomorrow's problems, and this stuff is dusty old stuff that they just don't even really have the headspace to marshal the resources to say, oh, what the world could be at stake again. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, it's kind of like we care. Like I try to get across with Johan, like we care about this tablet, and it sucks that we don't have it, and maybe at some point we will go after it and find who's responsible. But at this point, like we have a palace to rebuild. We got to make sure that all the library, like all of our records are safe that we need.
Yeah.
But like this tablet is just like if they got the tablet, they're not going to bother us anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the deciding principle in that negotiation was that Johan and all of the guards came to us, like when they met us, aggressively first. And so our reaction in a large part was, these guys are not being kind, they're not taking us at face value, so we can't take them at face value. We can't be kind, we have to be assertive.
And I think that destabilization definitely happened as a result of, hey, it's really, like, you have to admit, it's pretty suspicious that there's 5 of you in the library instead of the 2, and that you have gotten out of the library and the other people aren't out of the library, and, there's no tablet now, and...
Yeah, weird things. No question about how we got out.
It's fair. It's suspicious. So the guard captain probably knows about the hidden passage, so that might be why he didn't say anything, but he was still like, hey, like, we're hostile towards you for a reason, and I hope that came across. Like, why are there 5 of you in the library? So,
yeah,
they were quick to be suspicious, at least.
He strikes me, and that's the other thing that, like, I think when you're thinking about insight checks, right? Like, one of the things that a player is looking, or at least I'm looking for as a player, is when does a person's intentions not match their actions? If I interpret that somebody wants something and they're operating anti that, then I'm going to roll an insight check. But this guy comes in, he wants to know who, when, where, why, how. He's suspicious of us. That's straight on. He doesn't really seem to have a reason or a position where his like take doesn't align with his actions, Yeah. And so that's another thing that won't lead me as a player to roll an insight check or ask to roll an insight check.
That's one of the hard parts about insight checks is when, like, and I kind of have the same idea for insight checks as you do, is if someone goes, oh, I'm going to insight check him, I go, he believes every single word he's saying. Like, if you insight check him, I'm going to tell you he's telling the truth, because to him, he's telling the truth.
Right.
So even if he has the wrong information, if he honestly believes it, then it's truth to him. So he's not lying to you if he has something hidden. But if there's, if you had insight check Johan might have had like some background stuff that he's not saying, or he's not implying, he's not actually saying what he can and can't do. sort of thing, maybe I'd get you that if you had insight checked him. Be like, yeah, Johan's not actually giving you the full story of where he is in the palace hierarchy. He might actually have the power to give you a bunch of money, or he might not have any power, and he might just convince the guard captain to give you some stuff to send you away, sort of thing.
And he also like I mean that's a game that you're playing as the DM and we're also playing as players. We didn't forfeit any information about the cube. He does not know
That's
about the
true.
cube. He doesn't know how the person got into the environment. The closest he knows is that Balgear said he blipped in and blipped out, but it's Balgear. And like, so he's probably like, this guy doesn't fucking know what's going on.
And also, like you said, that there was someone working with him, so it was like, oh,
Yeah.
that guy. Okay, that's the reason. Like, he's a wizard, or you presume that Harold's
He's
a
a
wizard.
wizard, yeah.
Yeah, you presume
That's-
that Harold was a wizard, so you might have been, oh, that wizard made a portal.
Oh, you
That
know,
allowed the other
wizards who
portal.
can just do whatever they. It's like,
Yeah,
but that
wizards.
makes sense because he also they clearly also have no concrete idea about what an artificer is and isn't. Do they happen to get it right here? Yeah, but you also very clearly demonstrated to us that
Yeah.
they don't know. They're just guessing.
They're just like, you seem like an artificer. And I was, it's like, it's getting that tiny little world building across of like, yeah, people don't like artificers, and the common person doesn't know what a wizard does, but also knows that he hates artificers. So he might mistake a wizard for an artificer.
Or an
to be
artificer
honest.
for a
Like,
wizard,
it's
yeah.
very possible. That kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be interested. I didn't know what was going to happen after the whole tablet fiasco, if you were going to go after or not. And I was kind of like, I feel like we will see how it goes. We'll see who you go to and what groups you run into that want the tablet or want to, get it back, sort of thing. So
It's really funny to me because, like, I knew, like, again, you think about the party, but you think about your position in the party, too, I think, when you're playing. And, like, my position in the party is not one where I care about the tablet at all. The tablet is not on Louvier's, like, sightline. I just wanted the knife. I'm looking for things that benefit me directly. Thinking down the road, not really there. I was like, I knew my character would be surprised for us going for the tablet, but it makes sense that a party that is concerned about heroics would go and try and do the heroic thing. And it seems like this party en masse is not concerned about just the day-to-day, but concerned about, doing something that actually benefits the world.
Yeah. And plus the fact that you kind of, when it was like, oh, well, we don't really, one of the parts is like, we don't know what's on the tablet, so why would we care about it? And then you're all being like, it's a world-ending spell that you guys just didn't know you had. And then go, well, I guess that kind of changes things, but like, honestly, we still don't really care, but I guess we'll try to help.
Also, that cackling witch in the pub down the harbour who tells a story for a gold piece. That's canon now, right?
I will make it canon. Honestly,
Okay.
when you said that, there on Good Hope, there is a church. I don't know what the church is called. I just know that it is a church. And for a long time, there was this old lady who would sit there with her car, and she would sit on a folding chair with a sign that says "Jesus loves you" and just waves at people. And I immediately thought of her, and it made me laugh. It's this old lady with a sign that says "Jesus loves you" and just waving at all the cars on Good Hope Road. And she would leave very early, so you'd have to catch her at like 3, and you'd be like, "I waved to the old lady."
I like the idea that, Matthew, when you said that, it's now canon, it's for a gold piece. In this world, a gold piece is a lot of money, right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
totally.
like that, so this cackling witch will tell a tale for a gold piece. Maybe it happens once a month, or something like that, but it's good.
A bunch of people
you know.
put a little hat round to get all in
Right.
silver.
Right.
Yeah, that would like, or like, since people think she's a witch, maybe they go like, oh, tell me a story, and like, the gold is for the story as well as maybe there's a spell within the story. Maybe that's why it's so expensive.
Right.
Is that
Right.
like, oh, well, while I'm telling the story, I'm weaving a spell.
Maybe there's a cantrip effect with it too, a thaumaturgy or something, that.
And she goes like, wow, and it
Yeah.
explodes or something.
Turns out to be just somebody who's like, yeah, I know, like, thaumaturgy, druidcraft, prestidigitation. That's it.
Yeah. Well, if Kamiko was with you, they'd probably be like, it's just a firework, ain't?
It's not even magic, it's just a firework. Yeah, okay. That's almost more impressive. How'd she get the magnesium?
Appreciate my cats being really cute.
You mean perks of that?
They're being so
Stream
cute.
can
They're
appreciate
snuggling.
them too. That's
They're
adorable.
snuggling. They're just
Well,
hanging
guys,
out.
I think that's GG.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot
Yep.
to leave it. I'm gonna have to bring back this cackling witch, and also just
Well, if somebody ran out of the city with the tablet, or maybe it was a short range teleport instead of a long range, which doesn't make sense. But let's say, oh my God, maybe the cackling witch saw something, and we have to pay her a gold piece to get pay her a penance to
Or-
get the information.
or maybe I don't know. She could be just like some old sage that just happens to have like a lot of worldly knowledge, or like a spell that could just be like, I know what you're talking about. I saw it in a dream once, and you're like, wait, what? Like, I thought you were just like a traveling witch that roved around and got gold, like scammed gold from people. And she goes, oh, well, maybe I am, or maybe your tablet's in Zego. And you're like, do I follow that advice or do I not?
Algair really just goes to buy the skin tonic that she panders.
She's got like 1,000,000 of them stored in a portable hole. So she just reaches into her portable hole and pulls out a skin tonic and goes, here you go.
Yeah.
My infinite skin tonic hole. Or
It
better,
has
it just has the liquid in there, and she takes a bottle and reaches down and fills it up and caps the bottle and hands it to you.
It's its own proprietary blend of owl bear blood, a little bit of homunculus skin, and just a dash of Tom's piping brew.
Tom's piping brew, Tony's brew.
Tony's
Constant
Competition.
market competition, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tony's hot brew is
The
good,
thing,
but
with this witch is she'll be like a hermit loner who lives in the woods, and once a month she needs money to buy all her bits, so she'll come into town and be like, people.
Right. I mean, which really places her. I was going to say it kind of. I was thinking before you said that. This is like I was imagining maybe a hag, but a quite
Well, I was thinking her name
sociable one. Who instead of wanting to live in the woods actually lives in this tavern, and something has worked out such a way. But I like that idea too, every now and then she comes in and this is what she does.
Liamon's tiny hut and then works out of the tiny hut.
I thought she would have a cart and a donkey, or like some sort of. So she would actually like come and she would have like a snake oil cart, like a traditional sort of like come and I'll tell you a story and cast you a spell and here's some skin tonic.
Well, thanks everybody. This was a lot of fun. Great job, Morgan, as always.
Yeah, good job, Morgan.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
glad you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Have a great
Morgan,
weekend,
for
everybody.
doing
you.
for us.
Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Have a nice weekend.
Happy finals week.